Jiang Ming faces the great demon venerate across 10,000 meters, where the first move decides everything. The battle towers have fallen and the rules of immortals themselves are corroding away. Subscribe to witness the final confrontation. She didn't ask for the reason behind it. After exchanging information for a while longer, she rose directly into the air, came to the very center of the square and released an immortal light illuminating in all directions. Then she turned over her palm and a stone tablet appeared. She threw it straight down and it turned into a 1,000 feet high tablet. At the same time, a line of Tao motifs appeared on it. Buying immortal weapons, artifacts, immortal pills, spiritual roots and the likes that are of level 15 and above. Everyone around was attracted by the sudden commotion. After seeing the content on the tablet, all of them had a shocked expression on their face and were overjoyed as they flew over one after one. "Is this for real?" a young man asked. At the same time, a long sword that was a Tai immortal weapon appeared in his hand. As he removed his imprint on the weapon and asked, "High-grade Tai immortal weapon, do you want it?" Each Tai immortal weapon will be offered a unified price of 4 points. Ye Qingshan revealed her price for purchase. She initially wanted to lower the price. However, when she thought about Jiang Ming only requesting for it to be as swift as possible, she decided to set it at such a price directly. "Take it." The young man handed the immortal weapon over to her directly and took out his own supreme order at the same time. The rest of the people watched the trade as it took place. "All right." Yi Qingshan waved the immortal weapon away into her storage and offered up her supreme order. With a thought, 4 points flew out of it and even manifested itself directly, submerging into the other party's supreme order. "This is real." The young man was ecstatic. "I originally only had a few points left. Once I am depleted of points, I would have lost the qualification to enter the Supreme Pagoda. Never did I expect such a twist and turn, haha. The heavens wouldn't lead us down the path of despair. Miss, my name is Ye Qingshan. Immortal Lady Ye, are you still accepting more?" "Of course, the more the merrier. No one will be rejected." "For real? For real?" Ye Qingshan pointed a finger, and the balance of her points was directly displayed on her supreme order, which was more than 100,000 points. Hiss. The sound of many gasping for air suddenly sounded from all over the place, as they swarmed up at her one by one to start trading. Tai immortal weapon? Spiritual veins? How could they compare to the accumulated points? As Jiang Ming saw all the people in the square being attracted by the offer, he couldn't help but smile, thinking that it was settled. No one could use forceful means, nor can they go against another person's will here, which makes it the best place to conduct such trades. "Since I'm here, let's cultivate one more time." Jiang Ming came over to an empty lotus platform in the Sea of Enlightenment, sat cross-legged and directly turned on the time acceleration mode. 10,000 years flashed by with a snap of a finger. He was planning to refine a total of 49 great overarching Tao vessels, the Heavenly Star Swords. Once refined, they could be used to arrange into a Heavenly Star Sword array formation upon returning to reality. In addition, he planned to continue deducing other special abilities. Nevertheless, he did not plan to do the enlightenment of laws. He didn't want to step into the Tai realm just yet, hence it was not worth it. His inner world was evolving according to the established laws. Since he was now in possession of a middle Chiliocosm's heart, its growth was obviously much faster. However, for it to completely transform into the next realm would be too difficult. 10,000 years of time passed by leisurely. It was just a snap of his fingers in the outside world. As the fog slowly dissipated, Jiang Ming opened his eyes, showing an indifference in the vicissitudes of life. His aura was radiating with a feeling of indifference again. However, with his past similar experience, he could quickly turn back to his original self. As he stood up and looked around, he saw Ye Qingshan being surrounded by many eager traders. "I guess I'll return and look for my junior sister to rekindle the warm memory after 10,000 years?" Jiang Ming pondered. Because he had been cultivating for 10,000 years, he missed a lot of things, especially the Dragon Phoenix Heavenly Heart bed, dresser, bedside, window, rattan chair, balcony, among the vines, in the white clouds, in the stream, and even on the stove. Everywhere there were deep traces, which were the deepest nostalgia in his memory. "For the time being, I have reached the limit of the current stage. In that case, let's go to the battle tower again. I don't want to accidentally comprehend the Tai Dao and improve my cultivation realm." Jiang Ming communicated with the battle tower and directly teleported himself inside. Name: Jiang Ming Cultivation Base. Level 14 Golden Immortal Realm. Points accumulated: 10,717,888 achievements. Heavenly Immortal Realm. Battle Tower Level 37. Heavenly Ladder Step 42-45. Heavenly Ladder Step 43-45. Fifth Battle Tower Level 2-5. Heavenly Ladder Step 43-45. Mystical Immortal Realm. Realm 5th Battle Tower Level 6-9. 6th Battle Tower Level 1. Heavenly Ladder Step 46-48. He still had more than 10 million points left, Originally, he had more than 11.3 million. Apart from giving Yi Qingshen the 100,000 and trading tens of thousands with his friends, the rest was spent on evoking the Tao Enlightenment mode. As a result, he managed to deduce many terrifying special abilities from those sessions of enlightenment. Jiang Ming did not head directly to the first floor of the 6th battle tower, but he started from the 5th battle tower. He wanted to try out what his current techniques are capable of and tempered his tactics at the same time. Upon entering the level 1 of the 5th battle tower, the opponent that appeared in front of Jiang Ming was still Jun Sanqian. Why are you starting from this level? Jun Sanqian was a little puzzled. I wanted to try out my current techniques. Jiang Ming smiled. Old brother, is the Sea of Chaos the realm of the highest level? Jun Sanqian merely gave him an inexplicable and strange smile before asking back. Why did you ask this question all of a sudden? I met a person from the Sea of Chaos. He knew about the Lord God's space, the reincarnation hall, and the Supreme Pagoda. However, he didn't know the specific details of the Sea of Chaos and even kept it a secret. I find that very strange. Jiang Ming explained honestly, when I was still in the mortal world, I thought that becoming an immortal was the ultimate dream. Later, I learned about the small chiliocosm, the middle chiliocosm, and the great chiliocosm. I thought that the great chiliocosm was the top of the world already, and that becoming the heavenly emperor, dominating the universe, suppressing the heavens, controlling all laws, and ruling the latitude and longitude was the ultimate dream then. However, I later learned about the Sea of Chaos, which made me wonder why the world is layered like this, and is there an end to it? Even the chaos has a cycle of life and death. If so, is there any real immortality? Why do you keep thinking so much, kid? Jun Sanqian said, you've only learned to crawl, yet you're already thinking about jumping. As for whether such a thing exists, you'd have to experience or witness it yourself for it to mean something. You're right. What you experience firsthand would be more meaningful. Jiang Ming sighed and laughed. Old brother, do you know of the chaotic tree? I heard that it is the greatest treasure in helping the evolution of the inner world. To think that you actually know of this object. Jun Sanqian was surprised but smiled. The chaotic tree. If you get your hands on it, the way of Tao is akin to be completed. It's so powerful? Jiang Ming was surprised. Yeah. Jun Sanqian became more serious as he continued. If you heard about it, or if you have the chance to get it, just do everything you can to get it. Jiang Ming was shocked by his reply. Based on his speculations, Jun Sanqian was at the very least a terrifying existence of the Sage Venerate realm. The fact that he would utter such words highlighted further the preciousness of the chaotic tree. You have a lot of points accumulated and also the group admin of the chat group. You should listen to sermons more as it will be of great benefit to your growth. There is also the training opportunity that costs 500,000 points each time. This is the real sky-defying great encounter to you. Jun Sanqian brought up a few pieces of advice. Thank you very much. Jiang Ming clasped his fists solemnly. However, he felt helpless inside. Whether it was listening to the sermon or going to the Hongmeng primordial land to conduct his cultivation, both would take up a lot of time, which he was unwilling to do. His routine of 1 meal a day on the mountain could not be interrupted. Who knew that he might be rewarded with a chaotic realm? Right then, let's get down to business. Alright, as Jiang Ming stretched out his hand and grabbed midair, it felt like a doomsday natural disaster. Raging flames went rampant and countless thunder fell from the skies. This was just an ordinary special ability, but was evoked to its extreme. Its destructive power surged around terrifyingly. If they were in the original Tianyuan continent, the whole mortal planar would have been destroyed in an instant. Light of purity. Jun Sanqian's hand formed a seal, followed by a flash of azure light blooming in the surroundings, sweeping away the all-power of this doomsday disaster. At the same time, he commented, your deduction of special abilities has become more and more exquisite. However, such tactics were of no use to you, old brother, Jiang Ming said, as his aura suddenly erupted. On his left hand he evoked the sky engulfing technique, while his right hand evoked the sky entrapment technique, both unparalleled in power. Even if Jun Sanqian was at the pinnacle of Tai realm at that time, or that he was the genius ranked at the very top of the world, he was still suppressed by Jiang Ming in the end. Even if the special ability deduced was of ordinary level, Jiang Ming had too many special abilities at his disposal. These special abilities were but only a swift flick of his wrist, yet these were considered as the top-notch existence in the current heavenly realm. Boom. With one blow of the Great 5 Elemental technique, he evoked the 5 Elemental Great Grinder, wiping out Jun Sanqian. Level 2, Level 3. Jiang Ming progressed level after level and his combat power also kept rising. He did not even use the Great Manifestation technique to pair with the law of time and space to confront his enemy, but completely went at it head-on, using his normal means to forcefully kill Jun Sanqian. An invincible aura also kept brewing in his chest, and he was becoming more and more adept at evoking various special abilities. Time-Space Reincarnation Destruction Technique. On level 9 of the 5th Battle Tower, Jiang Ming launched a terrifying blow of attack. Space revolved and time flowed. bringing together the wonders of reincarnation. Its cycle was endless, and even the demolition Tao was integrated into it. Seeing the disillusionment of the divine light around Jun Sanqian, the power of reincarnation cycles had evoked a supreme power. The fusion of many great Taos allowed the eruption of power to increase by multiple folds, disintegrating Jun Sanqian with only one blow. With that, the fifth battle tower was forcefully broken through. However, it was unfortunate that there was no reward given. After all, he had already obtained it before this. Continuing with the sixth battle tower, he was to face those of the extreme great overarching realm in level 1. The Jun Sanqian who appeared in front of him was ranked among the 100,000 among the extreme great overarching experts through all the infinite realms. His combat power was sky-defying and could even kill the ordinary Quasi-Sage. When compared with the level 9 of the fifth battle tower, it was a whole realm of increase in strength, which was incomparable with the past. Jiang Ming once tried his best to kill him. However, currently, Jiang Ming let out a long roar, spitting out 3,000 thunderlights, where each of which could easily kill a Tai golden immortal. Its thunderous luminance could destroy the world as it surged throughout like tidal waves, submerging thousands of miles around. Supreme Sword Realm. The ordinary Quasi-Sage leveled Dao sword in Jun Sanqian's hands bloomed, and a world appeared out of thin air. The inside was formed from the laws of sword ki, layer upon layer as though it was infinite, crushing the thunderous light one after another. He also loudly roared, "Brother, enough using such a level of special ability." "All right then," Jiang Ming responded. His aura suddenly changed as the breath of civilization flowed out, forming a vast river of history with endless pictures depicting the various wonders of civilization. Holy Civilization Fist. What he had evoked was the law of the Holy Tao originated from Hong Yi. It was the original version of the punching technique. With just one punch, it was equipped with the power of civilization, which contained the endless flames of wisdom, vast flexibility of Tao, and the extreme desire of wisdom and light all beings yearn for. Boom! As the punch fell and shook the sky, Jun Sanqian's sword realm was smashed into pieces and he was pushed back from the exchange. Your comprehension of this punching technique is almost as good as that of Hong Yi. Brother, you're amazing, old brother. You know of Hong Yi? As Jiang Ming asked. He slammed his fists, sending a barrage of 81 blows. Each punch shook the starry sky and created a whistling sound among the sea of stars. Of course, I know every person here. Although Jun Sanqian retreated, he could handle the exchange of blows with ease. It was obvious that such a technique was of no use to him. Brother, if this is all you've got, you can't do anything to me, Jun Sanqian said again. After all, I'm currently in the extreme stage of the great overarching realm, yet you are only a golden immortal. Even though you've evoked the supreme holy law, it's still not enough. Is that so? Jiang Ming was oozing with confidence. As his boxing technique unfolded, pictures of historical occurrences were conjured. From each of those pictures, it felt as though all of them were able to absorb an infinite volume power. However, it was as Jun Sanqian said just now that such a technique couldn't do anything to him. Boom! Jiang Ming's left fist shook, and actually sucked in all of the many pictures of civilization that had been conjured. When he saw Jun Sanqian slash the sword, producing light of 3 million miles long, his eyes lit up. Meanwhile, his right hand formed the seal, as he shouted, "Old brother, have a taste of my new technique." Invisible fluctuations were radiated around. This was not any 3,000 great Taos. However, it could be seen that the Quasi-Sage Tao vessel in Jun Sanqian's hands suddenly trembled, almost forcing him to let go. The sword light that was 3 million miles long suddenly exploded, turning into a storm that swept across the vast universe. Jiang Ming was also able to punch his opponent thousands of miles away as he opened his mouth to spit out an 8,000 miles blood-colored river. That technique can actually affect my Tao weapon. It was deduced based on the sacrificial artifact judgment technique, right? Brother, this is amazing. Amazing indeed. Jun Sanqian did not care about his own injuries, but instead praised Jiang Ming again and again. As he watched Jiang Ming performing the time-space reincarnation destruction technique again, he quickly defended himself from it. Before long, he was killed by the powerful bombardment of the attack. With that, Jiang Ming broke through the level 1 of the 6th battle tower. After all, the opponent was only at the great overarching golden immortal realm. It was a pity that there were still no points awarded for this level, because he had passed the level before. The next level would be the real starting point. Upon entering the level 2, the place was a vast starry sky around as the two stood on a barren star. The sacrificial artifact judgment technique is just the detonation of all the energy of the Tao vessel in an instance, creating an extremely powerful explosion that achieves terrifying lethality, hence comparable to the top special abilities. As Jun Sanqian explained, he couldn't help but admire, this kind of special ability is very difficult to comprehend. Extraordinarily difficult indeed. Not only have you fully comprehended the technique, but you have further deduced it into a mysterious technique that can control even other people Tao vessels. Mysterious. This is truly inexplicable. Old brother, you're praising me too much, Jiang Ming said with a smile. Before I came in, I once had a great battle with someone and the effect of this sacrificial artifact judgment technique was very good. It got me thinking. If I can control my Tao vessels, why can't I control those of others? After I came here, I evoked the time acceleration and Dale enlightenment modes, which cost a lot of points to get to this point. I named this technique the infinite vessel manipulation technique. It's such a shame that this technique has not yet met my expectation. At present, it can only affect other people's Tao vessels, Jiang Ming said again. This is amazing already, Xianxia asked curiously. What were your expectations? To detonate the opponent's Tao vessel. If you manage to do such a thing, I will also kneel down in admiration. Brother, let's continue. Alright, the great battle resumed. Using the same tactics against the enemy did not work this time around. However, Jiang Ming was not discouraged. As his body suddenly trembled, the 48,000 pores all over his body spurted out rays of divine luminance, which formed into a picture of civilization, all of which came together to form a mighty river of history. Jiang Ming stood in the middle. One end of the river extended behind him, as if running through the infinite time and space of the past, while the other end extended in front of him, flowing towards the vast future. In the infinite distance behind him, a figure suddenly emerged, pacing on the long river of history, rushing over quickly and finally landed behind the top of Jiang Ming's head. This person had a blurry figure, but was roughly the same as Jiang Ming. The figure gave off an immensely powerful aura, but was very strange at the same time. It was as if he was not existing in the present nor future, as if he came from ancient times across time and space. The law of the past, the incarnation formed by condensing the mighty power of the past. Xianxia paused for a moment and looked at it carefully. By deducting the long river of history, once it transforms into the long river of time and space, only then that it becomes the real supreme law. Brother, your comprehensive ability is really terrifying. It's based on Hongyi's holy civilization fist's ability to absorb the resources of endless world civilization coupled with my return of infinite law finger technique as well as the evolution of my inner world. I also merged it with the incarnation Tao before being finally able to realize this infinite transcendence technique, Jiang Ming explained. The ultimate goal was detachment, to detach oneself beyond the past, beyond the present, and beyond the future. The infinite transcendence technique integrates what we know, what we see, what we think, and the likes to form a long river of history between reality and illusion. The next step is to condense the body of the past, which represents everything that is known and absorbs all the power of the past. Infinite vessel manipulation technique and infinite transcendence technique. These are the summary of my own insight and also my way of Tao, Jiang Ming added. Old brother, how are these techniques of mine? Transcendence. Detachment. Brother, you have really touched the threshold of transcendence. Xianxia nodded in admiration. Especially the infinite transcendence technique has infinite possibilities. Perhaps there's really a chance for transcendence. In addition to the past body, there are also the present body and the future body, right? Rightfully so. The one who replied to him was the past body. His voice was very distant, as if the voice was transmitted over from a long time ago, hence filled with vicissitudes of life. Please enlighten me. Please. Xianxia turned slightly more serious. The past is history and it is the interpretation of civilization. I am the past, the history, and the civilization. I interpret the killing fist and kill all the past body explained as it lunged forward. The past represented history. It was the cohesion of civilization, the accumulation of wisdom, the rotting of the past, the annihilation from withering and the burial by the darkness. Jiang Ming took advantage of the situation to deduce the killer civilization punch technique. Concealed within the underlay of civilization was an infinite killer intent. Boom. With a single punch, the past body sent void ripples that dispersed into millions of miles away, running through civilization with overwhelming killing intent. However, the two Tao fluctuations were properly merged together, allowing the punching technique's might to continue rising. However, Xianxia was also extraordinarily powerful, and was not afraid at all. Divine luminance rushed into the sky with a boundless sword. The barren planet under their feet could not carry the strength of the two of them, as it kept collapsing and scattered all over the place. What a past body! The voice of Xianxia exclaiming was heard. The past body used the original body as resources. As long as the original body's strength is sufficient, the past body can always be at its peak. As long as the real body doesn't fall, the past body will be able to continue existing. That's right. Jiang Ming placed his hands behind his back, stood on the mighty river of history, and smiled. This is the mystery of the technique that I've comprehended. Otherwise, what's the point if it disappears as soon as it's broken? Of course, this technique still has many flaws and it is not as mysterious as what you've just said. I'm the one who deduced this technique. Hence, if I am removed from the state of infinite transcendence technique, this technique would have been naturally unraveled. Otherwise, shattering the long river of history beneath my feet will also reap the same result. It's not like your real body can't fight. That's too difficult, Jun Sanqian said while fighting. The formation array formed under his feet finally collapsed completely, turning into residual nuclei as they scattered in all directions, crushed into dust by the aftermath of the peerless energy and swept away. The starry sky, which was seemingly vast, was existing between reality and illusion. Otherwise, who knew how many galaxies would have been shattered and how many stars would have been destroyed? Such a battle was immensely terrifying. Jiang Ming watched silently. Jun Sanqian was truly worthy of being a gatekeeper, being so powerful and terrifying as well as his sky-defying combat power. What about Jiang Ming himself? Although he was in the golden immortal realm, his origin and resources were no weaker than Jun Sanqian. As for Jiang Ming's special abilities, they were also incorporated with many laws, many powerful Daos, and formed through absorbing the essence of special abilities from countless worlds. Hence, they would not be that weak. In fact, the special abilities were the foundation towards his strength. Otherwise, walking solely on one path of Dao, he would have never been able to compete with the opponent even if his origin was sky-defying. This is still not enough. It's still a little lacking. As Jiang Ming whispered softly, two clones appeared beside him and at the same time evoked the time and space confinement technique. The void trembled for a moment and came to a stop. Jun Sanqian also realized the change in the void, but it was difficult to be too distracted when fighting with the past body. As a result, he was imprisoned for a brief moment. Even if it was just that brief instant, who knew how many thousands attacks existences like them could have been evoked? Boom! As the blow landed, even with Jun Sanqian's terrifying physique protecting special abilities and his extremely strong physical body, he still couldn't withstand the boundless killing intent embodied in the fist. Hence, the fist directly annihilated his physical body, will, and destroyed his soul. In the end, his body cracked and his primal spirit was annihilated. Jun Sanqian finally died. As Jiang Ming went forth into level 3, the two came face to face with each other again. While maintaining the infinite transcendence technique to use your past body to attack, you can even evolve another clone to attack. Jun Sanqian sighed repeatedly. Based on the normal circumstances, such peerless special ability must have many limitations to it. Once evoked, it's supposed to be very difficult for the main body to split his focus, let alone condensing another clone. Yet you managed to do it with ease. I'm just taking advantage of the inner world. Jiang Ming laughed. Just like what Jun Sanqian said, if it was someone else, it would be impossible to pull this off at all. It would have already been great to be able to maintain the past body using all the person's strength. However, Jiang Ming had an inner world. His divine soul and will was sky-defying strong, along with the 3,000 laws merging into one, which was equivalent to the capability of dividing into 3,000 separate wills. Such power was almost endless, which made him even more terrifying. Of course, it was almost impossible for other experts with inner worlds to achieve such a level. After all, who could be as abnormal as him? Not only did he have the system, he also received the inheritance of the Supreme Pagoda and had contacts with the beneficiaries of both the Lord God Space and Reincarnation Hall. With your inner world as foundation, you managed to deduce such terrifying combat tactics and even played around with them to such an extent. It's not something you can easily find in the world, Jun Sanqian said with a smile. Come on, let me see all that you've got. All right? Jiang Ming was naturally ready for it. Their great battle ensued. Unsurprisingly, Jun Sanqian still died in the hands of the past body and two clones. This continued on until level 5 before such tactics had finally lost its effectiveness. However, Jiang Ming had conjured 10 clones this time around. The 10 avatars evoked their strongest time-space concealment technique at the same time. Such a feat was Jiang Ming's current limit. If he were to conjure more clones, his inner world would not be able to keep up as the consumption would be too immense. In fact, such a situation would only happen within the battle tower. If he were to try it in the outside world, such a great battle would have caused his inner world to collapse for sure. However, Jiang Ming had always stored a large amount of the power of origin that had been tempered, just in case the consumption turns out unexpectedly too much. It was because he clearly knew the meaning of don't discuss victory before considering defeat, and this was the way to live in this world. Upon reaching level 7, Jiang Ming finally had to conjure his present body. The present. It was not pertaining to the past, nor the future. With hundreds of millions of great powers attributed to the self-suppressing the present, one could become invincible in the present world and the only one. The past body, when coupled with the present body, were powerful enough to shock even Jun Sanqian as he could not withstand it at all. It was not long before Jiang Ming was able to make it to level 9. What an infinite transcendence technique! Jun Sanqian sighed with lament. By using your inner world as a support, you are not afraid of the consumption. With the past body being the accumulation of power from the past civilization coupled with the present body suppressing the present, your technique is not of the ordinary power. I fear that I won't be able to even make you reveal your future body. Are you talking about the future body? Old brother, I was able to deduce to such a level from this round of cultivation retreat. Jiang Ming smiled. When all three bodies have appeared, only then will this special ability of mine become worthy of being a small success. When you say that it is but only a small success, I agree with you. Xianxia nodded. He naturally saw the great potential for Jiang Ming's special ability to grow further. In fact, its potential was very terrifying indeed. Let's get on with it. All right, the two went on with their fights again. The Xianxia, who was on level 9 of the 6th battle tower, was so powerful that even Jiang Ming's heart trembled. If he hadn't comprehended such heaven-defying special abilities such as the infinite transcendence technique, he would have had to do all he could in order to defeat his opponents. However, what had it become now? The fist of history suppresses the past. The fire of civilization destroys the traces of the past. The past body existed between reality and illusion, existed in the past, and was drifting in the long river of history. However, the power that erupted was amassed with extreme killing intent. 3,000 cataclysm fingers, where the first finger destroys the body, the second finger destroys the soul, and the third finger destroys the mind. The present body was even more domineering. With the return of Infinite Law Finger as the foundation, he merged with the true Sambodha of civilization, condensed the sharpness of history, accommodated all power in his finger and struck it at its sharpest. As the third finger was pointed out, it was an attack that focuses on one's vital essence and spirit. Hence, if the person could not withstand such an attack, he would definitely disintegrate. That was how domineering the present body was. Whenever the attack was evoked, there was absolutely no room for leeway from it. Even so, Jiang Ming didn't give up just yet. There were 5 clones on his left, evoking time and space confinement technique, and another 5 clones on his right, evoking the infinite vessels manipulation technique simultaneously. Because Jiang Ming had to support the outburst of explosion from so many kinds of special ability, the face of his real body turned pale as his aura suddenly fell to a chilling point. "Brother, you are cheating!" Xianxia cried out in grief and was bombarded to death on the spot. Jiang Ming let out a sigh of relief but sighed softly. "This is almost the freezing point that I can endure. The inner world has its limits after all." The 7th battle tower, which was also the last tower, corresponded to the Quasi-Sage Realm cultivation base. Upon reaching level 1, a screen appeared in front of him that allowed him to choose weapons. They were still Quasi-Sage weapons, but all of them were of the extreme stage. Jiang Ming could only select one of them at most. After thinking about it for a while, he did not give up the benefit of choosing a weapon as he did before and selected a sword instead. In an instant, a feeling of connection with his bloodline was felt, a sign of complete refining. The Supreme Pagoda. It's really extraordinarily mythical, Jiang Ming exclaimed within himself. This was equivalent to the weapon recognizing him as its master without the need for refinement. Xianxia once again appeared on the opposite side. He looked at Jiang Ming and lamented. Throughout the ages, very few were able to force their way here at only the golden immortal realm. In this era of yours, there is only one who can match up to you. Hongzan? Jiang Ming asked. No. Xianxia gave him a strange smile. It won't be long before you will truly see a fraction of fact in this world. Old brother, why do you describe the world like there's still more to it? Jiang Ming was puzzled. Is it not a fraction of the world that I'm seeing now? Is the Honggu heavenly realm not even considered a fraction of the world? Xianxia merely gave him a chuckle and changed the subject. You little boy, your combat power is really sky-defying. Without any inheritance and by just relying on the convenience that the Supreme Pagoda is providing here, you even managed to deduce the transcendence technique with endless potential. Even I myself am really amazed by you. Karan's Hexeral. However, my cultivation realm is still quite lacking after all. Even with the support of the inner world, my power of origin is still somewhat lacking, Jiang Ming said helplessly. Alas, the small chili ocosm. For a small chili ocosm to be able to be used by you to such an extent is already considered a certain limit. Xianxia smiled. Just wait till you take one step further as your inner world completes its ultimate transformation and sublimation, and enter the middle chili ocosm. Good gracious, when the time comes you will definitely be able to get through this battle tower. I can't do it now. No, you can't. What if my inner world doesn't evolve into the middle Chiliocosm but I've entered the Tai realm myself? Could I do it then? It would still be difficult. Unless you manage to comprehend all the 3,000 Tai laws, then there might still be some possibility. It's that tough? Ha! For the few higher levels in this last battle tower, the combat power is comparable to that of the former Saint Lord in your world. What do you think? Jiang Ming was not very surprised about it. How is the strength level of this battle tower divided into? Can the battle power of a quasi-sage really reach the level comparable to that of the Saint Lord? I heard that those below saints were mere feeble ants. Generally speaking, within a world, no matter how strong the quasi-sage is, it is still too difficult to compare with the Saint Lord. At most, the Quasi-Sage would amount to only a bigger ant than the rest. However, there are too many worlds in existence, far beyond what you might think of. Naturally, some extremely terrifying existences are bound to be born. Xianxia continued to impart some secrets. For example, through the bloodline of some creatures, when they reach the Quasi-Sage Realm, they could evoke their bloodline inheritance technique, and their combat power can leap even into the Saint Realm. Some would even be able to crush the ordinary saints. There are also those born with extremely powerful innate souls. They could even be comparable to that of the Saint Lord through just the strength of their innate souls. There are some holy soldiers which obtained great opportunities and even gave birth to the will of their spiritual soul. By condensing their Tao body, their combat power directly enters the holy realm. There are way too many of such existence. Way too many? Jiang Ming couldn't help grinning. Did this mean the words of the people weren't actually true, that those under the saints were mere feeble ants? He was now saying that there were many quasi-sages who could rival even the saints. He was a little confused from all this information. This way too many means that even if you entered the Sea of Chaos, you won't necessarily see one of these geniuses. Xianxia smiled. Alright, let's stop talking about this. If we continue on this topic, your spiritual Tao will be messed up. Come on, let me have a look at your future body. Wait! Jiang Ming waved his hand quickly. Brother, are all the 9 levels of this battle tower at the Quasi-Sage limits? No. Xianxia shook his head. The Quasi-Sage is divided into 5 stages: the initial stage, the middle stage, the later stage, the peak, and the hemi-sage. Each stage is a whole new world as the strength is very different. The first 2 levels of the 7th battle tower are of Quasi-Sage initial stage. The 3rd and 4th levels are of Quasi-Sage middle stage. The 5th and 6th levels are the later stages of Quasi-Sage, the 7th and 8th levels are the peak level of Quasi-Sage, and the 9th level is Hemi-Sage. There is still a Hemi-Sage realm after the Quasi-Sage realm? Jiang Ming had an awkward feeling. Of course, Xianxia said with a smile. Hemi-Sage, also known as Demi-Sage, is someone who has stepped into the threshold of sainthood, or has clearly understood the method of sanctifying their day, yet still unable to sublime and complete the transformation. Hemi-Sage already has some characteristics of Saint Lord. After Jiang Ming understood the gist of it, it was then that he made his move. A mighty long river of history appeared under his foot. One of its end came from the ancient past, while the other extended into the unpredictable future. Standing on it while holding a long sword, he conjured both the past body and the present body at the same time. The 2 bodies immediately evoked peerless techniques towards Xianxia. Jiang Ming went all out. He also conjured 10 clones where 5 of them evoked the time and space confinement technique, while the other 5 evoked the infinite vessel manipulation technique. As expected, they bombarded Xianxia to his death. Only then did he breathe a sigh of relief. On level 2, Xianxia was annihilated using the same techniques. However, before Jiang Ming could be happy about it, Xianxia reappeared behind him with a sword slashing across the sky, splitting the sea of stars. Its boundless sword edge gave Jiang Ming a great shock. Not having any chance to think about what just happened, the sword in his hand flew out and exploded the very next moment. The eruption of power turned into a monstrous torrent that drowned the sword key and shattered Xianxia's bombardment of attack. Jiang Ming was also greatly affected by the exchange as the long river of history under his feet suddenly set off endless waves which then exploded and disappeared into reality. The past body and the present body quickly teleported in front of Jiang Ming to block off the torrent of destruction before vanishing. Even the 10 cloners that he had conjured were shattered. Jiang Ming, whose aura had declined to freezing point, seized the momentary opportunity. His aura soared yet again and he recovered most of it in a blink of an eye, fleeing quickly. Through the starry vast sky, the aura of destruction swept 1 trillion miles away until it finally returned to its peaceful state. The 2 stood opposite each other again. Brother, you are ruthless enough to even detonate a Quasi-Sage Tao vessel. Xianxia's look was in discomposure. The torrent of destruction erupted from such a level of Tao vessel almost killed him even when he was of such a level of power. Even though he managed to block off the attack, his physical body was torn apart and almost completely destroyed. His aura had also declined extremely. You're really in great discomposure. However, that was the self-destruction of a top-grade Quasi-Sage Tao vessel, and still it couldn't kill you. Jiang Ming smiled. Old brother, I sensed that it was your real body just now. Just how did you dodge my fatal blow? I have a technique that allows me to travel through the false void. Xianxia explained. However, this technique has a drawback. It has to be prepared in advance and can only last for a short period of time. When faced with a fatal blow, it allows me to teleport away. It's a technique that can save a life, hence it's considered quite an okay technique. There is such a mysterious special ability. Jiang Ming was surprised. Of course, Jun Sanqian said. His debilitating aura began to climb rapidly and even grew further after reaching the peak. His whole body was also ignited with wisps of golden flames. From here on out, I'll be going at you with the aim of taking you down with me. Jun Sanqian's tone became much higher. Brother, bring it on. As his voice fell, a sword splash split through the sky as the endless edge seemed to have divided the universe into two. The Jun Sanqian at that state was terrifyingly powerful. Even the original Northern Emperor Kun Peng, the black-hearted old demon, was far from being compared with him. Then fight! Jiang Ming's fighting intent soared into the sky, and with a flick of his body, his figure had grown up to 1,000 feet tall. His aura rose majestically to the extreme, and the blood key even seemingly started to materialize. His physical energy was even more tyrannical. A long river of history had appeared underfoot again, but was wider and vaster than before. The past body, the present body, and the future body appeared together at the same time. This time, he condensed all three of his lifetimes into reality. The past body gathered the power of civilization, the power of experience, the power of growth, the power of accumulation, and the power of various pasts, forming the precipitation of history. The present body suppressed the present, indifferent to others but himself, did not talk about the past nor respect the future. It was firmly existing in the present as though it was inexhaustible and forever invincible. The future body seemed to be extremely hazy, seemingly real and illusory, elusive, incomprehensible, and seemingly non-existent as though it was a phantom. On his body, however, there were thousands of traces on him, each of which was a future, a possibility. This was the future body, a future that was unpredictable and incomprehensible. Each different thought and each different action led to a different future. These billions of futures were condensed together and turned into the end of the long river of history. When condensed together, it was the future body, the destination and the end. The future body was representing all kinds of possibilities in the future. The past, present, and future had all come together in reality, striking through the past and cutting off all traces of the past. His past body evoked a mysterious technique which led him directly into the darkness to cut off the past of Jun Sanqian, breaking his foundation and causing him to lose his past. This caused Jun Sanqian to become unstable in a glimpse of an eye. Entombing sky illusory palm, sever the future. As the palm attack from the future body was evoked, it erased all kinds of changes, and the infinite possibilities in the future. Jun Sanqian could only exist in the present, no longer had any flexibility. Such an attack was amounting to the ultimate lock-on. One cut the past, while the other severed the future. This made him feel rather flustered and even fear because he could neither look back into the past nor the future. 3,000 cataclysm fingers destroy the body, the soul, and the mind. Jiang Ming's present body evoked the strongest technique. Boom, 10,000 swords entombing realm. However, the Jun Sanqian at that time had already erupted his own powers to the extreme, pushing himself into desperation. Even with his past cut off and his future severed, causing his aura to decline by half in just an instant, he was still terrifying. Between the slashes of the sword lights, Jun Sanqian collided with the present body. As a result, Jun Sanqian flew back from the exchange while the present body directly exploded. Kill! The past body and the future body pursued onward, destroying Jun Sanqian on the level 3 of the battle tower. What a future body! Jun Sanqian looked at Jiang Ming and lamented. By condensing all kinds of futures together, it leaves only one possibility. The great self-confidence and power. You even realize the technique of destiny, cutting off the past, severing the future, rendering your opponent to float aimlessly like duckweed. They would feel as though they should not exist in the world while their subconscious falls into a confused state, losing themselves and even losing their very foundation. If their cultivation base is poor, they would even disappear in an instant. There are still many flaws to it, otherwise it wouldn't be almost broken through in level 2, Jiang Ming said. You brat. Jun Sanqian was speechless. You are a golden immortal, while I am a quasi-sage. The past, the present, and the future. All three were deduced well but are far from perfect. Its flaws are also too obvious. As your 3 lifetimes and 3 clones launch their attacks, however tacit their cooperation and understanding they have between them, they are still 3 separate entities after all. Once the 3 bodies merge into one and one strike from it contains the accumulation of the powers from the past, present, and future, then can the technique be considered to have reached its mastery stage. You are right, old brother. Jiang Ming couldn't help nodding. This is the direction that I'm aiming for. It's just that such a feat is extremely difficult. I have tried 36 million times but to no avail. Having no success when your direction is correct implies that you haven't comprehended the true essence. Jun Sanqian pointed out. Is the direction really correct? Jiang Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. Of course. Thank you, old brother. Haha. Make your move, brother. All right. The two went down into a great battle again. This time, however, Jiang Ming failed miserably and was killed. Let's do it again. Jiang Ming returned to the battle tower and made another selection for his choice of weapon. This time he had chosen a bell. The long river of history appeared below his feet, and so did the 3 lifetimes of himself. However, all 3 of his 3 lifetimes were killed at the same time in just a short time. The current Xianxia was in the middle stage of Quasi-Sage. His strength was sky-defyingly peerless, and his special abilities were incomparably terrifying. At the moment when all 3 of his bodies of lifetimes were killed, the endless sword energy directly reached Jiang Ming's eyebrows, not allowing him a chance to breathe at all. Detonate! Jiang Ming had expected such a situation earlier, hence he could instantly detonate the immortal bell. He also squeezed the power of his inner world to the best of his ability and once again conjured bodies of 3 lifetimes, protecting himself. When the immortal bell was detonated, he was too close with it. He could not withstand the eruption of power by himself at all, and could only protect himself with his bodies of 3 lifetimes. As Xianxia was bombarded and became half-crippled, Jiang Ming's bodies of 3 lifetimes were annihilated again. Inner world, total annihilation. Jiang Ming also went into madness. Half of the realm of his inner world was sacrificed and turned into a monstrous power and evoked bodies of 3 lifetimes again. This time, however, the bodies of 3 lifetimes formed a 3-talented formation and launched a combined blow, killing Xianxia. Jiang Ming ascended into level 4. Such a tactic of mutual destruction is not advisable. Not advisable at all, Xianxia said solemnly. Unless you fall into a situation of total despair, such a tactic must not be used. Otherwise, the price for it will be much too high. Old brother, I understand, Jiang Ming smiled. If it wasn't for the fact that we're here in the battle tower, how could I use this method of self-mutilation? After all, I am the group admin. Haha. Xianxia shook his head and smiled. A group admin could protect himself indefinitely as long as he had enough points. Old brother, with 10,000 points used for defense, what's the strongest level of power that it can block off? Yang Ming couldn't help but ask. Don't ask. I won't tell if you ask. Xianxia smiled mysteriously. As the group admin of the Supreme Pagoda, how can you be easily killed? Jiang Ming smiled. His heart was also put at ease from his reply. Old brother, let's fight again. All right, let's fight again. Brother, that method just now is now useless. This time I'll give you a taste of despair. The great battle erupted again. It ended up that Jiang Ming was able to kill Xianxia when he sacrificed his entire inner world and in conjunction with the self-destruction of the Quasi-Sage weapon. The exchange was extremely brutal this time around. As Jiang Ming ascended into level 5, he sacrificed his soul in exchange for strength, but to no avail. He ended up dying 5 times before giving up. Old brother, as long as I'm still in the golden immortal realm, I really can't get past this level? Jiang Ming asked with a sense of unwillingness to be defeated. There is still a chance, Xianxia said with a smile. He was in a good mood, an extraordinarily good mood. All these while he had basically been bombarded to death by Jiang Ming. This time, however, he managed to kill Jiang Ming a few times. It was a very good feeling indeed. What kind of chance? Jiang Ming took a breath. Bring your comprehension of the infinite transcendence technique to a perfect state and also further improve your infinite vessel manipulation technique, Xianxia pointed out. Jiang Ming was rendered speechless. Old brother, aren't you just pulling my legs? You've probably seen through me too. With my current cultivation realm, taking these 2 techniques a step further is like a fool's dream. You are quite a steadfast kid. Xianxia smiled and said strangely, one more thing. The essence of your soul is extraordinarily powerful and it already has the immortal characteristics of the holy realm. As far as the soul is concerned, you're already half a foot into the holy realm. Alas, brother, I have to say your fortune is really rich and enviable. Your great encounters make even myself a little jealous. You can focus on the Soul Dao and develop it to the extreme. Then you would still have a chance to defeat me at this level. Jiang Ming was speechless. The Soul Dao was even more difficult. This involves the most core essence of life. How could it be easily comprehended? The state of extremeness that Xianxia mentioned just now was not to say impossible, but the chance was just too vague. Old brother, is my soul really that strong already? Jiang Ming asked curiously. Of course, Xianxia nodded. You can try to comprehend the law of the soul more without involving ascending to higher realms and only consider the use of the power of the soul to turn it into a means of attack. Jiang Ming listened carefully. Being able to be specifically pointed out by Xianxia was naturally of great value. In the end, he left and appeared on the lotus platform in the Sea of Enlightenment. The harvest from this time around is not bad. As Jiang Ming looked at his increased points, he let out a smile. He previously stopped at the level 1 of the 6th battle tower, and so the points obtained this time around were calculated from level 2 onwards. In terms of his cultivation in the golden immortal realm, it corresponded to the 4th battle tower starting at 1 point. The 5th battle tower meant a 100-fold increase in points, and the 6th battle tower was 100 times more than the previous. For the 6th battle tower, Jiang Ming was considered to have passed 8 levels, with a total of 80,000 points accumulated. For the 7th battle tower, the calculation of points was doubled by 100 times, where the level 1 was 1 million points. After passing 4 levels, he had obtained a total of 4 million points. All in all, he obtained a total of 4.08 million points this time. This is just the beginning. Jiang Ming smiled as he looked over at the heavenly ladder. There was another wave of harvest that he could reap. However, after this round of accumulation of points, it would be impossible for him to accumulate such a high amount of points in the future. Heavenly Immortal Realm Battle Tower 37 stages, Heavenly Ladder 42 levels, True Immortal Realm, the 5th Battle Tower, Stage 2 to Stage 5, Heavenly Ladder, Level 43 to 45, Mystical Immortal Realm, the 5th Battle Tower, Stage 6 to Stage 9, the 6th Battle Tower, Stage 1, Heavenly Ladder, Level 46 to 48. On Level 61, Jiang Ming's mind was destroyed and he returned to the Lotus platform in the Enlightenment Sea. He was rewarded 60,000 points for clearing Level 49 to Level 60. Level 55 to level 63 belongs to the willpower of a quasi-sage, and considering the strength of my soul, I should be able to reach level 63. Unfortunately, there are too few special abilities about souls. Right now, I can only defend passively, and it's already very good for me to reach level 60, Jiang Ming said to himself. Compared to the battle tower, there was still room of improvement for the heavenly ladder. He sat in a lotus position and began recuperating. After he had regained his health, he flew into the air and came to the square. He walked to an empty area and pulled his couch out. There were not many people in the square right now. After a while, Ye Qingshan came up to him. There was a delighted expression on her face as she chirped. I had no idea that there would be so many people who want to trade, but there aren't many good items. I guess I should go back to my world and start collecting more. Brother Jing, is there a time restriction? As she was talking, she pulled a ring out and handed it to him. I spent 45,000 points this time. You should take a look. Cool. Jiang Ming took the ring and closed his eyes. There was a space as big as a planet filled with many tiny immortal weapons, great overarching Dao vessels, spiritual roots, pills of immortality, immortal veins, advanced grade divine crystal, ores and so on in the ring. There were about 5,000 tiny immortal weapons and 200 great overarching Dao vessels. The fact that Yi Qingshan could exchange them for 40 points per piece showed how wealthy these inheritors were. Under the circumstances that so much was traded without prior notice and with a small number of people, it was not hard to imagine how intense the ensuing trade would be once word spread. However, it was something within expectation as well. After all, those who could make it here were elites among the elites. Do you see anything you need? Jiang Ming asked as he waved his ring. Yes, Yi Qingshan replied. The 1,000 points you gave me are more valuable than any Dao vessels or pills. I have confidence that I can enter the chat group before I run out of it. At that time, I should be able to earn a lot of points. She looked toward the battle tower and the heavenly ladder. Her gaze blazed with enthusiasm. Jiang Ming nodded in assent. He had a good impression on Ye Qingshan. She was matured, well-educated, confident, and down-to-earth. If it were other people, he was certain that they would have thrown themselves at him and asked for more. Brother Jiang, you haven't replied to my question yet. Is there a time limit? We don't have to do anything anymore after the deal is sealed, Yi Qingshan asked as she sipped from the tea. The flow of time here is 10,000 years. Are you sure you can take it? Jiang Ming asked. Don't worry, it's just like 10 years in the real world, Ye Qingshan replied with a grin. I can take it even if it's 1,000,000 years. All right then, Jiang Ming replied. I'll decide when the deal is done. After that, he transferred 300,000 points to Ye Qingshan. You're really loaded, Ye Qingshan exclaimed. I believe none of the people here have more points than you do. Well, this is nothing. Geez, stop showing off. After both of them had chatted for a while, Jiang Ming returned to the Lotus platform on the Dao Enlightenment Sea. He was going to resume his cultivation. He activated the Time Accelerate mode as well as the Dao Enlightenment mode. Yi Qingshan looked at the figure on the Lotus platform that was shrouded in the fog. This should be a special benefit for group members. I must work harder and join the Supreme Immortal chat group. Brother Jiang has helped me so much and I can kill myself if I still can't get into the group. He turned around and returned to the massive stone monument. She forged a timer and left a note on it that read, next trade will be 1,000 years later in the Supreme Pagoda. After that, she flew toward the Dao Enlightenment Sea. When she saw Jiang Ming rising to his feet, she frowned in confusion. However, she paid him no mind and landed on a lotus platform. She decided to cultivate here, so she activated the Dao Enlightenment mode. Time passed rapidly in the Time Acceleration mode. Another 10,000 years has passed. Jiang Ming lamented, his voice cold and apathetic. Suddenly, he sensed a familiar presence and turned his head around. He saw Ye Qingshan was cultivating with her eyes closed. Then, he looked toward the huge stone monument and noticed that there was a timer on it. He couldn't help himself but chuckle. Turning his body around, he gazed toward the heavenly ladder. He squinted his eyes, and in the next second he disappeared from the Lotus platform. When he appeared again, he was standing at the 61st level of the heavenly ladder, which corresponded to the willpower of a quasi-sage. Not only did he receive pressure from the outside, but his soul was being attacked as well. As soon as Jiang Ming straightened his body, a vast universe appeared in his soul. The river of stars spinned and danced. Suddenly, one after another, all the stars began streaking across the universe and falling down with a mighty power. Jiang Ming raised his head and looked upward. As the first barrier of the inner world, it only managed to block the bombardment of 9 stars before the world membrane shattered. However, it was considered rather good since the barrier was not a specialized defensive mechanism. The stars continued to fall. It was as if they wouldn't stop unless they crushed him. "There are 72 more," Jiang Ming said. There were a total of 81 stars coming relentlessly at him. Even though his soul was imbued by the soul of the Saint Lord, it was impossible for him to counter the attack. With that thought in mind, he shouted, "9-level stellar pagoda, defend." A light that was as bright as the stars above erupted from Jiang Ming's soul and formed into the shape of a pagoda around him. The pagoda had 9 levels, and this was the defensive technique he had developed to protect his mind and soul. It was called the Stellar Pagoda. Bam! The stars continued to fall, but it did nothing to the Stellar Pagoda. A light flitted across Jiang Ming's eyes as he looked down at the staircase below him. He let out a grin and said, "I did it. It seems like the stellar defensive technique that I developed by combining the 3,000 laws in the inner world as well as using the civilization Tao as the foundation is not in vain. It's truly powerful." He raised his feet and continued to mount the staircase. This time there were 3,000 sword energies tearing through the air and coming straight at him. The Stellar Pagoda was able to hold back 2,400 sword energies before it started trembling vigorously. When it reached the 2,800th sword, the Stellar Pagoda cracked. In the end, even though it was able to hold back all 3,000 sword energies, the Stellar Pagoda crumbled away. Jiang Ming cracked his eyes open and there were cold sweats oozing out of his forehead. He did not continue forward. Instead, he closed his eyes and fell into thought. On the previous level, it was an attack from 81 stars. This time it was 3,000 sword energies. Maybe I can try to absorb the attack to boost up my combat power, Jiang Ming thought inwardly. That being said, it was going to take a long time before he could get it done. He thought for a long while and stepped on the 63rd step. On this level, the attack was equivalent to the power of the extreme quasi-sage, or otherwise known as the hemi-sage or demi-sage. Jiang Ming stood as stiff as a ramrod on the staircase. Suddenly, his surroundings turned dark and he couldn't see anything past his fingers. However, a bright light erupted from his soul and lit up the entire space. "Earth Core Sword." A deep, booming voice rang out from the depths of his soul. In the next second, the glittering stars in the distance gave off a brilliant light. They began to swirl around in a circle, and very soon a long sword that pierced through the universe and star appeared. It was glowing yellow and it seemed heavy. It seemed as if it was formed from the power of Earth itself. The sword rose, the starry sky shook. When the sword fell, the universe was destroyed. Jiang Ming frowned deeply as he came out of the 9-layer stellar pagoda. Bam! The sword fell, crashing through the world membrane and headed straight at the stellar pagoda. A piercing sound that sent shivers down his spine rang out, and the stellar pagoda began to crack. This attack has gathered the power of the earth. Jiang Ming had an incredible eyesight and he saw right through the essence of the attack. It seemed like the power of the stars, but when he gave it a second thought, the stars were planets themselves as well. At this moment, another voice rang out. "Humanity Core Sword." As the voice erupted, countless light dots appeared around him and various noises emerged one after another. There was laughter of joy, sobbing cries, cursing grievances, hateful killing intent, roaring rage, hissing beasts, and so on. The sound was like a torrent, and as the light coalesced and turned into a multicolored sword, it became louder and louder like a thunderclap, resounding through the world. He felt annoyed and his heart began to race. When the sword fell, Jiang Ming's expression changed. Even though he was annoyed by various voices in his mind and wanted to go crazy, he was able to keep himself calm. In the meantime, he also realized something. The Earth Core Sword drew power from the ground. In other words, the Humanity Core Sword amassed the power from humans. "I'm afraid this is the end for me," Jiang Ming thought inwardly. A brilliant light erupted from the depths of his heart. There were traces of all the laws, the imprint of civilization, the light of wisdom, and the hope of the future. All of them formed into a sword energy as he shouted,
"Celestial Heart Sword, slash."
This was a mental attack technique that he had developed himself. Bam! The sword energy rose, silencing all the sounds, sweeping away all the darkness, and also shattering the Humanity Core Sword. He turned his head around and realized that his sword energy was on the verge of breaking as well. Heaven Core Sword. Without giving him a second to take a breather, another sword energy came at him from the depths of the universe. Jiang Ming's heart trembled and he hastily activated the celestial heart word again. It was just this time it was his sword that got crushed. The Heaven Core sword was too powerful. Even the 9-level Stellar Pagoda couldn't stop its attack. Stellar Flare! Jiang Ming was stunned and he immediately activated another secret technique. He ignited the broken Stellar Pagoda and threw it toward the Heaven Core sword. The sword energy disappeared in the end and a sword mark appeared on his soul. He squinted his eyes and his mind returned. Drip. A drop of sweat fell to the ground and Jiang Ming heaved out a sigh of relief. The Heaven Core sword is indeed powerful. Luckily I was able to neutralize the attack. If not, I would certainly be done for, Jiang Ming said. Then, a grin appeared on his face. He had passed the 63rd level. He lifted his head and looked at the 64th level. This level corresponded to the willpower of a Saint Lord. Maybe I should give it a try. Jiang Ming took a deep breath and stepped on the 64th level. As soon as his feet landed on the staircase, a gigantic finger appeared on top of his sea of consciousness. The finger fell and crushed the world membrane, the 9-level Stellar Pagoda, and the celestial heart sword without any difficulty. His vision turned black, and by the time he opened his eyes again, he was already back on the 63rd level. How is this possible? Why is the difference so big? Jiang Ming wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and there was a shadow of fear lingered on his face. Unless I come across a great opportunity and my inner world evolves again, there's no way I can get past that level. With that thought in his mind, Jiang Ming returned to the Lotus platform. When he saw how many points he had right now, his eyes glowed with happiness. Although he only managed to pass 3 levels, he had gotten a total of 3 million points. Name Jiang Ming. Cultivation base, level 14, Golden Immortal Realm. Points accumulated, 2,000, 3,000, 9,999, 10,700, 17,888 plus 4,000, 80,000 plus 6,000, 60,000. Honor, Heavenly Immortal Realm, Battle Tower, 37 stages. Heavenly Ladder, 42 levels. The 5th Battle Tower, Heavenly Ladder, 43 to 45 levels. Mystical Immortal Realm, the 5th Battle Tower, 6 to 9. The 6th Battle Tower, Stage 1. Heavenly Ladder. He had a lot of points, but he did not know where to spend them. He then returned to the real world. Although he had spent a lot of time in the Supreme Pagoda, it had only been an hour in the world outside. Senior brother, were you cultivating in seclusion for a long time again? Phoenix Linglong asked. She sensed the faint aura of indifference from Jiang Ming, so she jumped and threw herself into his arms. Yeah. Jiang Ming nodded. In the next second, his eyes widened. Hey, stop that. Hey, ouch. Be gentle. That's the most tender part of my body. How can you be so rough? I'm rough. Phoenix Linglong was stunned. Then, she pouted. Senior brother, how can you, a man, say that I'm rough? I'm a girl, you know. You're the one who's rough here. Oh really? Then maybe I should show you how rough I can be. Phoenix Linglong squinted her eyes as she exerted more strength on her hand, causing Jiang Ming to groan in pain and excitement. The next morning, the sun rose from the east and cast its brilliance over the land. Jiang Ming got up from the bed and rubbed his back. He looked at the sun and sighed. Well, it's not a good thing when my junior sister becomes so strong, he mumbled. He looked through his ingredients, and he felt disgusted when he saw most of them were seafoods. In the end, he cooked a pot of porridge and a few dishes. After he had finished his meal, he said, it's time to get moving. He obtained a low-grade spiritual root after he had finished his meal. Then, he rose up to his feet and flew into the air. In the air above Chuyang Peak, Jiang Ming turned his head as he took in his surroundings. The Tianyuan realm had become completely different than when they first arrived here. There were divine lights everywhere, and the air was pervaded with immortal spirit natural aura. He grabbed the air in front of him. When he opened his hand, there was a wisp of immortal spirit natural aura in the center of his palm. The concentration of immortal spirit natural aura isn't enough. When the thought surfaced in his head, he waved his hand and 49 heavenly star swords appeared out of thin air. They all floated in the air and glowed brightly in divine light. He had completely refined these heavenly star swords when he was in the Supreme Pagoda. Using the Saint Province Dao Square to hide their presence, he distributed the heavenly star swords into every corner of the Tianyun realm and formed the heavenly star sword formation. As the formation was activated, the entire Tianyuan realm shook and surges of immortal spirit natural aura were drawn into it. In the meantime, there were 3,000 spatial rifts around each heavenly star sword. In the blink of an eye, the concentration of immortal spirit natural aura in the Tianyuan realm increased by leaps and bounds. It didn't take long for clouds of immortal spirit natural aura to be formed over the Tianyuan realm and rain of immortal spirit began to fall. Most of the people in the Tianyuan realm noticed the changes. However, most of them knew that this must be the doing of that supreme being from the Zhuyang sect. All of them were excited, and even the experts in the Zhuyang sect were overwhelmed with joy. Mountain Master Tianyuan came out to the courtyard. He looked into the distance and he saw something that other people couldn't see through his divine eyes. Incredible. In another few years, this place will be another Sage Realm Dao province. He took a step forward, and in the next second he arrived at Jiang Ming's side. He exclaimed, "Way to go, brother. This is something that not even I can do with my current power. Well, I'm just lucky enough to come across some opportunities." Jiang Ming laughed. "Opportunity, huh? For me, this place is my biggest opportunity," Mountain Master Tian Yuan said as he gazed into the distance. "Right now, the abyss is on the rise and they're attacking our homeland. Although chaos is nigh, this sudden change of events will still attract the attention of many people, especially the abyss. I'm sure they'll stop at nothing. I hope they know their own place," Jiang Ming said, his gaze cold. The abyss, he was not afraid of them at all. A divine light flowed in his eyes and he saw many portals from the abyss had emerged in various places of the infinite realm battlefield. Countless demons were coming out of the portals, laying waste to everything that crossed their path. This was a catastrophe. The land was dyed red and the sea flowed of blood. Suddenly Jiang Ming chuckled. "Speak of the devil." Mountain Master Tian Yuan sighed. "I hope it isn't the doing of the great demon Venerate." "I doubt so." Jiang Ming shook his head. If the great demon Venerate wanted to rebel against the heavenly court, he had to defeat the heavenly emperor first. The abyss had just been gravely damaged by the heavenly emperor, and now was the perfect moment to wage a war against the heavenly emperor. But what was happening right now? Instead of going straight to the heavenly emperor, he dispatched his troops all over the place. What would this lead to? Everyone would unite together to fight against him and his troop. Wasn't this stupid? Not only that, but there was also a troop coming toward this direction. Obviously they were coming for him. A battle had just happened here and several venerates were dead. There was no way they would go down without putting up a fight. And now not only was he going to attack the heavenly court, but he was going to attack him as well? In Jiang Ming's opinion, this was a really bad call. On the Tianyuan Sea, Ryu Chengfeng emerged from his palace. He glanced at the Tianyuan realm and sighed. He's truly fast. It has only been such a short time and he has already finished refining all 49 great overarching Dao vessels. Not only that, but he has used them to form a formation as well. His figure vanished, and in the next second he appeared on top of the palace. He looked around and shook his head. The great Dao is right before us, yet they still want to have a war. What's the point? It's just the game of a few figures that stand on the top. Aren't they fighting for the great Dao? Yang Ming said as he appeared beside him. Since he did not have to worry about the Tianyuan realm anymore, he came to the Tianyuan Sea to prevent this place from getting destroyed. Great Dao? Ryu Changfeng shook his head. The heavenly emperor of this realm is powerful. Even though he rules over the heavenly court, and he's certainly the most powerful being in this universe, he still stops at the demi-sage realm. Is it really that hard to achieve the sage realm? Jiang Ming frowned. Generally speaking, if one has come across many opportunities, it shouldn't be a problem at all. Nope, it's harder than you think, Ryu Changfeng said as he looked at him. Ever since ancient times there have only been a handful of people who managed to achieve the sage realm. Besides, there's a quota in every great chiliocosm to how many people can reach sage realm experts. Once the quota has been filled, it would be extremely hard for other people to reach the sage realm. I see. I didn't know about that at all, Jiang Ming replied. This is to keep the balance of a world, Ryu Changfeng continued. There is one easy way to achieve the sage realm once the quota has been filled. That's to kill one Saint Lord. Jiang Ming did not know what to say. Suddenly, a thought appeared in his mind and he pointed upward. What if we go there? Would it be easier for us to achieve the sage realm? Well, you're right. If the quota in a great chiliocosm has been filled, it's indeed easier to reach the sage realm by going there. If the quota hasn't been filled, I suggest you stay here as it's easier to sanctify your Dao in a great chiliocosm, Ryu Changfeng said. However, in your situation you have less restrictions compared to other people. Once the condition is met, you can ascend into the next level. That's easy for you to say. Yang Ming shook his head. Haha, Ryu Changfeng laughed. Anyway, what are you going to do with them? He pointed at the demon army that was coming at them. Let's get rid of them, Yang Ming said. In the distance, a group of demons were heading toward the Tianyuan realm. Most of them were demon soldiers and only a few of them were demon generals or demon lords. It seemed that this group of demons were unaware of the things that happened here. If not, there was no way they would have the guts to come here. Within a blink of an eye, the demon army had invaded the southern, eastern, western, and northern regions of the Tianyuan Sea. As soon as they got here, they pulled out a bottle and poured it into the Tianyuan Sea. Those are Archeron water. It's filled with negative energy and it could erode everything it touches. A small bottle of it is enough to pollute the entire sea and kill all of the living organisms in it, Ryu Changfeng said. Brother Jiang, it seems to me that they're going to turn this area into a demon realm. I guess someone must be supporting them from the back. Do you know who it is? Jiang Ming asked. As he was talking, he flicked his finger and a ray of light shot into the air. When it reached the sky, the ray of light exploded into a bolt of bright white light before spreading out, purifying all of the negative and evil energy it touched. In that moment, the demons that entered the Tianyuan realm screamed and groaned in pain. They felt as if someone had sprayed acid on them as they were pulverized by the light. Just when the white light was about to purify everything, a black figure appeared and stopped the white light from spreading. "I know who it is, but I can't tell you. After all, I have to follow the rules," Ryu Chengfeng said with a smile. "Brother Jiang, if you make a move now, I'm afraid there will be a lot of consequences. If I don't do anything now, the Tianyuan Sea will be gone." Jiang Ming flew into the air and cast the Killer Civilization Punch technique. "Our enemies are in our home right now, so of course I have to fight back." The Killer Civilization Punch technique required the user to be very close to his target, but things became different when it came to Jiang Ming. In the blink of an eye, he had cast a total of 3,600 punches and killed all of the demons in the Tianyuan Sea. "How dare you?" an angry voice belted out from the distance. Immediately after, a sword energy that carried a powerful force came straight at Jiang Ming. Jiang Ming raised his fist and intercepted the attack. He looked at the incoming person and said in a grim voice, "It seems like you guys from the Abyss never learn. Since you have the guts to show up here, then I'll kill you first." "Kill me? Ha, how arrogant. Very well then, I shall kill you today and show to other people that we experts from the Abyss are no pushovers," the incoming person said, grinning coldly. He was a young man with silver hair. His entire being was exuding a bright light, and he sported a handsome face. From his look, he did not seem like a demon from the Abyss at all. However, Jiang Ming knew from a single glance that he was a demon venerate. "Shang Yuan." Jiang Ming looked at the young man as he frowned. "You're the kept man of the great demon concubine, right? How dare you insult me? You must have a death wish." Chang Yuan demon venerate hissed. The crescent-shaped sword in his hand glowed brightly. "I think you yourself know the best if that's an insult or not," Jiang Ming laughed. "Now that the great demon venerate has come out of his seclusion, I wonder how he will punish you." As soon as he finished speaking, he activated the worldly projection and enveloped the young man in it. Name, Chang Yuan, Zhengu Demon Venerate. Race, silver-blooded demon. Gender, male. Cultivation base, Quasi-Sage background. The 9th Demon Venerate of the Abyss of the Honggu Heavenly Realm. Relationship, -93 innate talent. Quasi-Sage status. A long time ago when the Abyss first was formed, it hadn't been divided into different areas. In a deep corner, a demonic worm came into existence. It was thoroughly black and had long silver hair. The most special feature was that it had 1,000 eyes. There was a great monarch amongst the demonic worms. He had participated in the war, but he failed to claim the throne and became the great demon venerate. He was killed afterwards, but the blood he left behind had merged with the origin of the Abyss and gave birth to another demonic worm whose name was known as Chang Yuan. This demonic worm had gotten the legacy from the great monarch. Ever since he was born, he kept a low profile and consumed his own brethren to grow fast and strong. During a war in the Abyss, he received help from the current great demon concubine, who was once a disciple of the Saint Demon Lord and became even stronger. Killing would never cease to exist in the Abyss. After going through multiple obstacles and escaping death many times, he finally became a demon emperor and was taken by the great demon concubine under her wings. After that, he became a demon venerate and called himself Gengu Demon Venerate. When the great demon concubine expressed her love to him, he was hesitant to respond in the first place. However, he was grateful of her help and he did not want to see her tortured by loneliness, so he offered his body for the great demon concubine. He was overwhelmed with joy when he heard Hong Luo Demon Venerate was killed on the Infinite Realm battlefield. That day he slept with 3,000 desired demons, and he even wanted to eliminate the great demon venerate so that he could claim the great demon concubine all to himself. However, his plan was thwarted when the Heavenly Emperor announced the Great Abyss trial. He swore in his heart that he would kill the Heavenly Emperor one day and claimed his wife as his own. When 5 of the demon venerates were killed and the combat prowess of the Abyss greatly dropped, everyone in the Abyss felt insulted and angry. The great demon venerate was infuriated, and he gathered up the remaining demon venerates as well as a mysterious being from the depths of the Abyss to start a war against the Heavenly Court. According to the great demon venerate, they were going to use the Infinite Realm battlefield as their stepping stone to enter the Heavenly Realm and attack the Heavenly Court. At that time, he would challenge the Heavenly Emperor and end him once and for all with the help from other experts such as the Lord Buddha or the Dragon Lord. After the great demon venerate had initiated his plan, the great demon concubine asked him to bring a troop of demons with him to attack other worlds to collect blood and spirits from other races. She wanted to make the Saint Blood Pill so that she could step into the Demi-Sage realm. In the meantime, the great demon concubine also told him to destroy the Tianyuan realm in the Infinite Realm battlefield to avenge Hong Luo Demon Venerate. She also told him that a friend of hers would help him as well. Besides, she said that although Jiang Ming was strong, there was a limit to it. He had just finished a battle with other demon venerates, so he must be very weak right now. Not only that, but the mountain master Tian Yuan was injured as well, so this was the best moment for them to strike. After all, many forces in the heavenly realm were diverted by the invasion from the abyss. According to her experience, the terrifying power in the Tianyuan realm was definitely a power of a Saint Province Dao Square. She was certain that it was a secret Dao Square of a Saint Lord, and it must hold various legacies as well as treasures. If they could get their hands on it, their battle prowess would increase by leaps and bounds. After hearing what the great demon concubine said, Zhengu Demon Venerate was interested. He led a troop with him and invaded the Tianyuan realm. In order to force Jiang Ming to come out, he used the Archeron water to pollute the Tianyuan Sea and turn the area into the abyss. If Jiang Ming refused to come out, he would move the entire Tianyuan realm to the abyss through the Archeron water. As for the great demon Venerate's plan, screw it. Jiang Ming chuckled when he saw his status. He thought it was the great demon Venerate was the stupid one, but it turned out that it was the great demon concubine. Not only was she not helping him, but she even dispatched a troop of demons to attack the Tianyuan realm and him. I kind of feel sorry for the great demon Venerate. His wife cheated on him, and now she's dragging his feet. Jiang Ming shook his head. How dare you insult the great demon concubine and me? Jiang Ming, I swear to the abyss that I'll strike you down today, Shang Yuan said through gritted teeth. Although Jiang Ming was merely stating the truth, he must not admit it. After all, he was a demon Venerate. Besides, the great demon Venerate was still alive, so he swung his blade and there were numerous black dots in his sword energy. Jiang Ming squinted his eyes and he realized that those black dots were miniature demons screaming and hissing. They all seemed to have formed a formation and come at him in the form of sword energy. Shang Yuan was, after all, a well-seasoned demon who had fought for many years in the abyss. It went without saying that he would have a few aces up his sleeves. In the meantime, countless demonic eyes began to appear on his body. All of them had slitted pupils and they were exuding a strange red hue as they enveloped Jiang Ming in it. This was a special ability he developed himself. He called it the Thousand Eyes God Decimation. It could attack his target's soul directly. Even if he could not kill his target right away, it could serve as a diversion. When his target was diverted, he would then swoop in and kill them with his blade. Other demon venerates knew about his special ability and they had been very wary of it. Jiang Ming saw through the nature of his Thousand Eyes God Decimation, but he ignored it. He cast the 9-level Stellar Pagoda on his soul. He activated the Killer Civilization Punch technique on his left hand and crushed the sword energy. At the same time, he pointed his finger at Gengu Demon Venerate. This was a special ability that he had developed. Extermination, the first form of the 3000 Cataclysm Fingers. He can guard against that special ability of mine. Shang Yuan was stunned. He wanted to evade Jiang Ming's finger, but it was already too late. After all, even though Jiang Ming could guard against the special ability, it would throw him off balance for a while. He did not expect that he could retaliate so fast. The center of his forehead gave off a brilliant light and a silver-colored flag appeared in front of him. It was the Silvered Flag, a great overarching Dao vessel of great defensive capability. As soon as it appeared, the flag glowed brightly and enveloped him in a glowing barrier. However, in the next second, cracks began to appear on the barrier. How could this be? Damn it. Shang Yuan lost his control over the silvered flag and panic clutched at his heart. Before he could do anything, Jiang Ming's finger had already pierced through his forehead. At the same time, Jiang Ming activated the infinite vessel manipulation technique. Voom! His soul emerged from his mortal body, but Jiang Ming was not going to give him the chance to run away. Soul Extinctor. Jiang Ming cast the attack again and destroyed his soul, ending the demon venerate's life one and for all. He waved his arms and gathered up all the items. At this moment, the sky rumbled and a thunder struck down. Jiang Ming's eyes constricted and the 9-level golden pagoda appeared on top of him. While it protected him from the thunder, it got Feng away as well. When he was trading with Ryu Changfeng, he wanted to exchange for some stuff with 10 quasi-sage weapons. However, when Ryu Changfeng showed him the chaotic tree's seedling, he abandoned his previous plan. He decided to amass more items to exchange for the chaotic tree's seedling. In the end, he kept the 9-level golden pagoda with him. Although it wasn't a quasi-sage weapon, it was a good defensive item. While Jiang Ming took a step back, two figures appeared in the distance. One of them was a woman. She was clad in a divine light and she was alluring. It went without saying that she was the great demon concubine. Jiang Ming, how dare you kill our demon venerates? The great demon concubine's voice rang out angrily. Even though she was angry, she was stunningly beautiful. Jiang Ming's heart raced into a gallop, and he had the urge to kill himself to repent for the sins he had committed. Damn it! I didn't expect this great demon concubine to be so pretty. We should just kill him. Another person was an old man. He had gray hair, but he had the face of a baby. There was something fluttering in front of his face. Initially, Jiang Ming thought it was his beard, but when he looked closely, they were tiny white snakes and he felt a chill down his spine. They had locked the area as soon as they appeared. Kill me. A brilliant light erupted from Jiang Ming's heart and cleared his mind. He smiled at them and said, "I think you guys shouldn't count the chicken before they hatch." Chang Feng looked at the distant sky with his hands behind his back, his white shirt fluttering along with the wind, giving people a feeling that he was someone who was left behind and independent. Sacrificial artifact judgment technique can only be used to detonate a person's own Dao vessel, but he was able to interfere with the opponents, and that's the Immortal Dao vessel controlled by a Quasi-Sage expert. This is the sublimation of sacrificial artifact judgment technique. He had a look of amazement on his face. Also, he wasn't affected at all by the other party's natal soul technique. It's either that his soul's strength is strong to a certain extent, coupled with a very strong defensive technique, or that he has a soul defensive Dao vessel. And his punching technique, which has the silhouette of the Holy Civilization fist technique, is more powerful, more profound, and more mysterious. The last two attack with his fingers, destroying the body and the soul. If all these techniques are based on his own comprehension, then this kid is truly amazing, so peerless that such a person had never been seen in ages. Ryue Changfeng was really baffled in amazement. The Abyss is actually divided into two factions at such a critical moment. This is interesting. Really interesting indeed. If the Great Demon Concubine were to smash up the whole place here, would the Great Demon Venerate go mad? Maybe not. He might even have a sense of relief. Haha. Ryu Changfeng had a weird look on his face. As Jiang Ming responded standing in midair, he was also looking through the human path records at the same time to check on the identities of the two in front of him. The white-haired old man was the Thousand Snake Demon Venerable, born of the Thousand Silk Snake clan. He was the monarch of the snake, the great monarch of the demon holy palace. He once listened to the sermon under the demon saint, and his strength grew monstrous. In the past, he had spent 30,000 years with the great demon concubine in the House of Time. They became physically and mentally close to each other, and reached a strategy agreement to be allies. Currently, he was invited by the great demon concubine to make a move. Moreover, he was also lusting for the great demon concubine's body. If he was given another 30,000 years to exercise with her, coupled with a portrait of the great demon venerate in front of him as they do so, he imagined that it would definitely be exciting. The corners of Jiang Ming's mouth twitched. This Thousand Snake Demon Venerate was really not a good person at all. Swoosh! The pages of the human path record were flipped again as he looked at another page. Name Yu Fei, Great Demon Concubine. Race, Sky Desire Demon Race, Gender, Female Cultivation. Quasi-Sage Realm Background. The Great Demon Concubine of the Abyss in the Honggu Heavenly Realm Relationship. -66 Talent. Quasi-Sage Status. In the Abyss at the beginning of time immemorial. 72 Original. Desires such as desire, demon, mind, greed, murder, lust, and many other converged together and fused into a congenital bone of desire. She was a lady born from the accumulation of thousands of desires in one entity. This woman had a God-given name, Yu Fei. When she was born, she was accepted as a child follower by the Saint Demon Lord to stay by his side. Being hit on by the Saint Demon Lord, she was imparted with his cultivation techniques, and it released all her body's potential. Her strength advanced by leaps and bounds, and her desire grew stronger and stronger. Since she stayed in the Sage Venerate Dao Square and was hit on by the Holy Demon Venerate, she was able to maintain a pure and holy temperament. After entering the great overarching realm, she was publicly accepted as a named disciple by the Saint Demon Lord, which was considered as giving her an official identity. However, Yu Fei had great ambitions and was dissatisfied with the title. She wanted to become the holy concubine of the Saint Demon Lord, but was instead imprisoned for 3 million years. She had to fight against 3,000 incarnations of the Saint Demon Lord every day. Since she absorbed the essence of the Saint Demon Lord, her aptitude had greatly increased, and her strength had also been continuously improving. When the Holy Demon Lord left, she was slightly in despair but was also very excited at the same time. She was finally a free person. She had plans to traverse the world, behead all men she encounters, and take revenge on the Holy Demon Lord. She was about to create a harem of her own and collect men from thousands of races to have fun. The great demon venerate of that era came to her requesting for her cooperation so that he could unify the Abyss at ease. Unable to come to an agreement, she was forcefully suppressed by that great demon venerate and was taken in as his partner on bed. At the same time, the forces and influence that Yu Fei had accumulated were also taken in by the great demon venerate, allowing the Abyss that was scattered due to the departure of the previous Holy Demon Lord to become unified again. During the siege of the last Heavenly Emperor, the great demon venerate was killed. Yu Fei was captured by the present Heavenly Emperor and was secretly held captive for hundreds of years. The Heavenly Emperor was able to taste the beauty of the most alluring lady of the Abyss. She was later released from captivity. Yu Fei's rage and hatred slowly turned into madness. She originally thought that she would be able to wander freely between heaven and earth after the death of the Holy Demon Lord, and no longer be oppressed by anyone. Who knew that she would be forcefully seized by the great demon venerate and then kept in captivity by the Heavenly Emperor later on? The hatred and desire for revenge that took root long ago in the depths of her soul erupted completely. She started to go around enticing the laughing Buddha of the Faux sect, seducing the thousand-snake demon venerate of the demon holy palace, had private dates with the monarch of the dragon clan, and many more. However, the abyss was chaotic around that time frame, and now that Great Demon Venerate was able to fight his way to the top and took over the throne. Due to the potential power and influence of hers, he forcefully took in Yu Fei for himself, granting her as the Great Demon Concubine. The Great Demon Concubine hated it even more, but kept a low profile. When the Great Demon Venerate went into cultivation retreat, she began to seduce many other demon venerates of the abyss, not hesitating to even use force plot in secret to achieve that. She successively pulled Hongluo Demon Venerate, Zhengu Demon Venerate, and so on into the whole blunder. It was a pity that the black-hearted old demon and such did not fall for her temptation in the end. A great opportunity has finally appeared. In a battle at the Infinite Realm battlefield, 2 demon venerates had fallen. No one expected that the Heavenly Emperor would sneak into the origin of the Abyss and forcefully kill 3 other demon venerates. These events had left the Abyss deeply troubled. How could the Great Demon Venerate let this incident be swept under the rug? In order to maintain his dignity and for the future of the Abyss, he had to assert his dominance. Sure enough, he was ready to defy even the heavens now. Haha, this is my chance. Great Demon Venerate, are you trying to go against the heavens? Only attacking the heavenly court? You even want the experts of the various powerful influences to kill the Heavenly Emperor with you? Hee. How would I let your wishful thinking come true? She ordered Zhengu Demon Venerate to invade the various heavenly realms and to invade into strong influences, ordered many other demon emperors who had secretly subdued under her to participate in the whole plot, and even contacted her old friends who had tasted her before to secretly help her out. She wanted to leave the Great Demon Venerate alone and helpless as he became the common enemy of the world and kill him off. Once the Great Demon Venerate dies, she will then contact the Heavenly Emperor to take over the Abyss forcefully and manage her forces for her. She will then look for opportunities to destroy the Heavenly Emperor himself. From then on, she would finally obtain total freedom, allowing her to collect great men from all over the world as hers and indulge herself every day. How good of a life it would be! At the same time, she also planned to kill off Jiang Ming. Although she didn't mind about Hongluo Demon Venerate's death, it seemed that Tianyuan Realm was too mysterious. She suspected that it was Dao Square that was left by a Saint Lord. Regardless of whether there would be any great encounters in that realm, she would be able to reap benefits if she managed to kill Jiang Ming. Otherwise, her acts in killing Jiang Ming would definitely enrage him and put him in the position of antagonizing the Great Demon Venerate. Great Demon Venerate, since you made me your plaything, I will make you the cuckold of the thousands. I will drag you down, chop your arms, finally send you into total despair and bury you completely. But, how could this Jiang Ming be so strong and actually behead my beloved Chang Yuan in just a short skirmish? Alas, my Chang Yuan, who was more loyal and courteous than a dog, who was better at stirring my heart than a dog and much better at licking than a dog. It's such a shame that he was killed just like this. To think that one of my beloved playthings was lost just like this. Sigh, I'll be heartbroken for a second. I'll find 3,000 men who have similar appearance as Chang Yuan in the future and raise them in captivity. Consider it a commemoration to my Chang Yuan. That said, this Jiang Ming here has a good temperament. Should I try and take him under me? I think I can. After all, how could there be any men who could escape my clutches? Jiang Ming felt chills in his heart as he was speechless that this Great Demon Concubine's status was too damn abundant. Just look at those existences that she had had affairs with. There were the Saint Demon Lord, former Great Demon Venerate, current Great Demon Venerate, Heavenly Emperor, Laughing Buddha, Thousand Snake Demon Venerate, and so on. Dang it. Did she just take over all the great experts of this world? She's so amazing that I admire her wild ambitions. What she has is just a pretty face and that secreted fishy stream of hers. How did she raise the attention of so many peerless experts and make them willing to pour their hearts for her? Jiang Ming was puzzled. However, when he thought about himself currently evoking the soul technique to calm his mind, he seemed to have understood more. This is a woman of hardship who yearns for freedom. Should I hit on her as well? However, when he thought of the Heavenly Emperor and the others, all of them made him shiver as he felt a little disgusted. Don't they know about her situation? I think they should have known. They definitely knew. But still, why did they do so? Was it for her beauty, or did they want to do like what the Saint Lord once did? Jiang Ming couldn't help but allow his thoughts to run wild. The time he used to look up the human path record while many wild thoughts were running through his mind, it was all as swift as a snap of his fingers. The Great Demon Concubine opposite him waved at the Thousand Snake Demon Venerate and started to softly pace herself towards Jiang Ming, coming to a stop 10,000 meters away. Such a distance was already as close as she could get. With just a slight smile on the great demon concubine's face, there were thousands of amorous feelings that directly struck Jiang Ming's heart, causing him to tremble. He was inexplicably wanting to run over and hold her in his arms and drown her with immense love and affection. Thousand Snake Demon Venerate, who was watching the scene from the side, twitched his mouth as his beard became fluttered and twisted. Great anger was even raging in his eyes as his killing intent came to a boil. He licked his dry lips and finally forcibly suppressed his restlessness, continuing watching the two silently. Brother Jiang, the great demon concubine's soft words turned into thousands of echoes, echoing in the depths of Jiang Ming's soul. Jiang Ming felt a heat flow in his lower abdomen that subsequently went straight to his head. Jiang Ming's eyes suddenly turned blood red as he threw himself at her. The great demon Venerate was standing on top of a 100,000 miles high mountain in the abyss. He was wearing a dark golden robe radiating a feeling of low-key luxuriousness, as his well-shaped face looked as though he was chiseled. The feeling of indifference that radiated from him brought chills to people's hearts, especially from those pairs of his eyes that had double pupils. With his hands on his back, he glanced at the bottom of the recovered abyss. Unfortunately, the original holy mountain that was there was beaten into an abyss. Raising his head, his eyes glittered, his vision passed through numerous spaces and thousands of obstacles. He could see through heaven with just a glance, but he unfortunately couldn't see through the important places. Just as he was about to peek further, he saw a scene suddenly appearing in his eyes. His pupils shrank as he immediately dissipated the special ability of his Heavenly Emperor. The great demon Venerate murmured. As he looked around every direction again, the great army of the abyss had already entered heaven. However, he suddenly frowned. He discovered that many demons had broken into many middle and small chiliocosms. After observing a little more, he found out that these were the demon army of Hongluo Demon Venerate, Zhengu Demon Venerate, Thousand-Handed Demon Venerate, and the other subordinates. He turned his gaze over to the Infinite Realm battlefield. You Fei, you really are the #1 desire demon in the world, such a bitch. The great demon Venerate's face turned even more indifferent. Right at this moment, an old man appeared beside him. It was the black-hearted old demon. How's the plan going? Everything is going on in an orderly manner. It's just that, are you really going to do this? I've made my decision. It won't be good for your reputation. Alas, how do I have reputations to begin with? Besides, we are demons. What makes us demons? It's the lawless and solitary that make us demons. Why would I even care about other people's opinions? I was planning for it to be a huge sham this time around, but I didn't know that this brainless scum great demon concubine wanted to take revenge on me. Hee. I'll let her do what she wants and adapt accordingly. Through her, we'll complete our great cause in the abyss. If that's the case, then it's good. I was afraid that you'd go mad in anger because of her. For this bitch? The great demon Venerate sneered. Although I'm angry emotionally, I don't really care much about it, so don't worry. By the way, what do you think of Jiang Ming and his Tianyuan realm? I've never entered the Tianyuan realm before this, but I can infer that Jiang Ming's combat power would skyrocket when he is inside. He managed to even cause Beiming Kunpeng, who was in control of the power of authority, to almost fall and ended up escaping in embarrassment. There is only one possibility in such a situation. That is, the Tianyuan realm is a sacred land that was once the Dao Square of a Saint Lord. The black-hearted old demon speculated, but his tone was very certain of it. This Jiang Ming is a person of both unparalleled talent and aptitude. Otherwise, he would not have followed the path of the world's Dao. For a person from the planar world to walk on the path of world Dao, to have yet reached the great overarching golden immortal realm, but capable of counterattacking and slay a Venerate, the great encounter that he has obtained must have been sky-defying. Absolutely sky-defying indeed. The great demon Venerate nodded, agreeing with this speculation, and asked, do you think Yu Fei can take him down? I'm afraid not. The black-hearted old demon had an imposing look on his face as he continued, I have a feeling that the great demon concubine will fall here. If she is killed, it will be unfavorable for us. Therefore, we will need you to make a move when such a situation arises. The great demon Venerate nodded slightly. The power in his body started to oscillate within, and the space in front of him became layered upon layers, as inexplicable changes had taken place. I'm going to guide the follow-up changes, the black-hearted old demon said before disappearing without a trace. On top of Tianyuan Sea, Ryu Changfeng stood on the palace, watching the exchange silently. If one can't see through the essence of the holy Dao, it will be all for naught. Alas, a person like myself, although I can match up a little against those of the Sage Realm, I'm still not at the Sage Realm myself. Without becoming a saint, I still lack way too much. Ryu Changfeng sighed. At the junction of where the lands of waters meet in the Tianyuan realm, Mountain Master Tianyuan stood silently as he watched the whole ordeal with an extremely solemn expression on his face. The great demon concubine. She is actually stirring up trouble, worsening the entire condition. Is she leading the crusade on the infinite realms? Does the great demon Venerate allow her to do so? Why is she bothering Jiang Ming? Is it a means to avenge her escorts? No, A desire demon like her is the most ruthless demon. In her mind, these so-called escorts are nothing more than just dogs who please her. If she wants to give up on them, so be it. Why would she even care? If that's the case, could it be that she is coming for the secret of Tianyuan realm? That should be it. What should I do? The kid asked me to guard the Tianyuan realm just in case anything happens. Although he killed the Jengu demon venerate, there are two more venerates around and one of them is the great demon concubine. Mountain Master Tianyuan had a headache thinking about it. In the end, he still didn't make a move and stayed back in Tianyuan realm. Standing on top of the Kuyang Peak, Phoenix Jr.'s sister looked in the direction of her senior brother with the phoenix's flame burning in her eyes. The killing intent and unwillingness could be seen continuously flowing in her eyes. I can't even be of any help now. Secretly hating herself for her own incompetence, a red crystal appeared in her hand. The fiery energy immediately surged out like the sun, exuding the most extreme power of Yang and even had the aura of fire poison mixed in it. This was the Sun Immortal essence that Jiang Ming gave her, which was graded the best of the best. Jiang Ming traded around many rare and precious treasures, hence he naturally would give the useful ones for those around him. Without hesitation, Phoenix Jr.'s sister opened her mouth and swallowed it whole. She then sat cross-legged and began to cultivate. She knew that she wouldn't be able to participate in such a great battle. Rather than watching the whole thing in anxiety, it was better for her to cultivate and improve her strength. Over the Tianyuan Sea, the great demon concubine secretly evoked her innate special ability, sending out extreme waves of desire that could seduce souls, twist minds, and make people involuntarily fall in love with her wildly. The person would become a loyal dog and be unknowingly enslaved by her subtly yet still feel joyous about it. Upon seeing Jiang Ming's shortness of breath as he was throwing himself at her, her face was full of pride. She slightly straightened her body, allowing the two tall and curvaceous mountains of hers to rise even more, especially the two peaks that were round and full of vigor. Die! Jiang Ming roared as the attack from his palm connected. The long river of history manifested itself, exhausting through all its evolutions with infinite variables. Concealed in it was the supreme Tao fluctuation that could end futures. This was the entombing sky illusory palm technique of his future body, exhausting changes and ending the future. The expression on Great Demon Concubine's face abruptly changed, turning into great shame and anger as the seven-colored scarf wrapped around her body suddenly burst into 7 colors of divine light that evoked the power of order to turn into 49 defensive luminance that surrounded her. However, the luminance suddenly collapsed right the very next instant. Yang Ming's palm attack landed on her chest, but he was sent backwards by a ray of luminance poured out of her body. As Jiang Ming looked up, he saw that the great demon concubine had also retreated thousands of miles away from the exchange, and blood was seeping out of the corner of her mouth. She was seen standing on a big pink bed with her bare feet. Boundless divine light beaming from below, penetrating through her body, forming layers upon layers of shadows to protect her. Obviously, the pink bed was a special defensive Dao vessel. Even so, she was still injured by Jiang Ming's palm attack just now, and her body almost collapsed from the exchange. 1,000 snakes, kill him. The great demon concubine's face was filled with extreme anger. When she looked at the palm print on her chest, a ferocious expression flashed through her face. She was the great demon concubine, the noblest woman of all in infinite realms. It was nothing for her to have been beaten by the heavenly emperor, old dragon, old Buddha, and the great demon venerates before. However, to think that her precious pure body was beaten ruthlessly by such a feeble existence, how could she not be enraged when her body was her whole life? All right. The 1,000-snake demon venerate paced closer, stroked his snake-like beard, and revealed a cruel expression as he said, "This kid should be killed. In fact, I've already prepared for this long ago." 10,000 snakes killing formation array, refinement of the heavenly poisoned blood. The 1,000-snake demon venerate stretched out to clench his hands mid-air. Numerous voids could be seen appearing in the surrounding space, from which silver poisonous snakes quickly slithered out, intertwined to form a large formation array, and spewed blood-colored poisonous mist, instantly infecting half the sky. Yang Ming had no place to escape. These old things are really difficult to deal with. Jiang Ming frowned. He pretended to have fallen for her alluring temptation just now to take advantage of his opponent underestimating him. He thought that he could use the infinite vessel manipulation technique to influence her defensive Dao vessel and the entombing sky illusory palm to kill her off in one strike. Who knew that she had a great defensive Dao vessel concealed within her body that was actually in the form of a bed? It was an extremely rare sight to behold. To think that everything was going according to his plan smoothly, this happened. Jiang Ming was about to continue his attack, but realized that the surrounding space had been confined. This was a special ability of the Quasi-Sage Realm. With his current abilities, it was impossible for him to unravel such an attack, and he could only try to break free from the confinement with brute force. Before he could even react, thousands of snakes could be seen appearing, spurting bloody mist that quickly filled the air. Jiang Ming saw layers upon layers of densely woven chains of rules that kept shattering and dissipating under layers of blood mist. heavenly immortal law, true immortal law, mystical immortal law, golden immortal law, and the likes were all annihilated layer by layer under the blood mist. The layers of space had also been corroded into potholes as a result. Upon witnessing such an ordeal, Jiang Ming's scalp turned numb. The 9-level golden pagoda was seen hanging above his head. As he raised his hand and swatted, sparks were suddenly discharged with the deafening sound of thunder exploding, blocking the blood mist in its tracks before quickly vanishing. This was the Thunder Flame Dao. The Thunder Flame that was supposed to suppress the blood mist was instead restrained by the seemingly endless blood mist in a blink of an eye. Jiang Ming frowned as thousands of thoughts flashed through his mind. The very next moment, his body rose steadily, reaching thousands of feet high. The power of his physical body had also skyrocketed to the extreme, reaching the real peak that a golden immortal realm could achieve. It could also be said that this was the limitation of the heavens and earth and the great Tao. Reaching such a limitation was an energy outburst of 1,000-fold. If he were to take a step further and enter the Tai Golden Immortal Realm, his physical body would have undergone transformation and that it wouldn't be suitable anymore. He would have had to deduce the whole special ability again. Such was the limitation of the physique. World projection, chessboard imprisonment, killer civilization punch, break through the infinite realm. The surrounding void shook as the world projection fell. Invisible chains of laws intertwined into a chessboard, forming the power of confinement, blockade, and suppression. However, it only managed to delay the speed of the blood-colored poisonous mist from spreading by just a little. Immediately afterwards, both his fists were in a barrage, naturally evolving into an illusory river of history. One single punch blew up one of the silver snakes that penetrated the confinement. Deafening blows could be heard constantly. With both his fists, Jiang Ming formed a torrent made of history. It was extremely violent, destroying everything as if it was an unstoppable force to be reckoned with. With loud explosions, it actually shattered the snake array formation. The silver snakes exploded in the air one after another, forming bursts of blood mist. How dare you kill thousands of my descendants? The 1,000-snake demon venerate was enraged. He opened his mouth and spat out a machete, which disappeared in a flash, directly aiming between Jiang Ming's eyebrows. It was extremely fast, so much so that Jiang Ming was almost unable to react to this sudden attack. Boom! The machete was blocked by the defensive luminance hanging from the 9-level golden pagoda. However, it kept advancing, bursting with power before forming a circle of storm. The golden pagoda trembled vigorously. Its defensive luminance was about to be broken through. Such strength! Jiang Ming was taken aback again. When faced against an expert such as the 1,000-snake demon venerate, Jiang Ming could have easily killed him by just using his special abilities. However, this opponent here had too many supportive Dao vessels in hand. Inside the snake formation array, the machete, or rather the teeth of a poisonous snake, could be seen right in front of him. As Jiang Ming's eyes flashed, the machete in front of him trembled, as the power that was contained in it was suddenly launched into chaos. He reached out and grabbed onto the machete. Although 9 layers of the immortal luminance in his palm were still shattered, he still managed to grab it and throw it into the human path record. 1,000 snake blade, made of the fangs of a quasi-sage snake combined with the innate wind essence stone and the abyssal venom. It has unparalleled speed, unyielding strength, and extreme toxicity. Jiang Ming took a glance at the status and was done with it. A long river of history suddenly appeared under his feet. It was seemingly vast and mighty, with no starting point nor destination. It was akin to the river of fate, with endless mysteries hidden in it, and even seemed to have the power of fate. Damn it! This kid actually imprisoned my 1,000-snake blade. The 1,000-snake demon venerate was shocked, yet his murderous intention was also overwhelming. With a roar, he raised his hands, fired 2 yin thunders at Jiang Ming while he launched himself forward. A long sword that was as black as ink suddenly appeared in his hands. There's something weird about this kid. Be careful, the great demon concubine reminded him. As she raised her hand, the 7-colored scarf that was wrapped around her body flew out and came right in front of Jiang Ming's eye in a blink of an eye. This scarf had already evoked the power of order, forming into a confinement technique. Right that very moment, 3 clones appeared around Jiang Ming. They were the past body, the present body, and the future body. Break! The past body raised his hand and punched, dispersing the yin thunders. The destruction of body, the destruction of soul, and the destruction of heart. 3 fingers into one, demolishing Daos. His present body launched his ultimate technique, the 3,000 Cataclysm Fingers technique, which he had advanced into a terrifying form, completely combined the essence of the first 3 finger techniques. This technique had become extremely powerful, but its energy consumption had also been pushed to the extreme. Bright red luminance could be seen flashing all over his body. They were actually burning flames. With just a single finger, he pointed at the tip of the 1,000-snake demon venerate's sword. Boom! A peerless power erupted, forming torrents of chaos. What kind of special ability is this? 1,000-snake demon venerate screamed in horror. The incomparable gleaming luminance that was contained in the sword was shattered. Its power was transmitted back at him, shattering his palm, hand, and even his arms as he was sent flying back from the explosion. The present body then turned into flames and dissipated. Through the convergence of the three fingers, a single blow could destroy Tao. That was how domineering it was. Right the very next moment, the present body was quickly conjured yet again. As long as Jiang Ming stayed alive, so did this special ability of his. The present body had already launched itself after the thousand-snake demon Venerate, as the past body chased behind. It was also at this time that the future body waved his palms swiftly, forming a mysterious power flow, scattering the luminance from seven-colored scarf driven by the great demon concubine. The future body then grabbed with his other hand and intended to put the scarf into the human path record. However, the sound of a flute could be heard echoing in the air. Immediately, the scattered rays of luminance from the seven-colored scarf suddenly converged and entangled the future body, crushing it into pieces. Yang Ming frowned, only to see the great demon concubine playing a flute. Its notes sounded like elves skipping in the air as an invisible force connected itself with the scarf, resisting the interference from the infinite vessel manipulation technique. Even the huge bed under her was dispersing rhythmic notes. 3 pieces of quasi-sage weapons. What a fucking rich woman. Jiang Ming complained to himself. He was also certain that the great demon concubine definitely had other quasi-sage Dao vessels with her. After all, she was the #1 courtesan of the Honggu heavenly realm. Having slept with the heavenly emperor, fondled with the laughing Buddha, cuddled with the old dragon, snuggled with great demon venerates and the likes, it could be said that she had a terrifyingly strong background. Therefore, it wouldn't be surprising if she had 5 or 6 quasi-sage Dao vessels at her disposal. As the future body reappeared, it launched its attack at the great demon concubine. Standing on the long river of history, Jiang Ming saw the great demon concubine being entangled by his future body. He then turned his gaze over to the thousand-snake demon venerate. This old demon had recovered his shattered arm and was wielding his long sword to fight against Jiang Ming's past and present bodies. The demon venerate was quite fearfully adept as he produced poisonous artifacts time after time to interfere with their attacks. Because of that, both the past body and future body weren't able to completely suppress the demon venerate for a while. It's time to end this, Jiang Ming thought. He had exposed a lot of his techniques in this great battle, but also understood his shortcomings better. His physical body, which seemed to be strong, was in fact not. When compared with these quasi-sage old demons, his physical body was still very fragile, and was far from reaching the point of invincibility. Also, he realized that he had very few effective techniques at his disposal, yet he wasn't to be blamed for this. After all, his cultivation realm was still too low. Otherwise, if he was also of the Quasi-Sage Realm, he could have easily tortured these 2 demons to death by just relying on the 3000 Great Dao technique. I still have one last technique. Unless it's absolutely necessary, it must not be used. Nevertheless, it's the time to end this battle. As Jiang Ming thought to himself, 2 clones appeared beside him. His physical body had reached a height of 1,000 feet, while the power of his flesh and blood increased by 1,000-fold. Hence, his capacity to withstand the pressure too had increased greatly. While fully evoking the infinite transcendence technique, he could still conjure 2 more clones, and that would be enough. Time and space confinement technique. As soon as the 2 clones appeared, they directly ignited themselves in flame, casting the most terrifying confinement special ability as all their strengths were completely integrated into the technique. Infinite vessel manipulation technique. The past body, who was besieging the thousand-snake demon venerate, suddenly changed the special ability that he was evoking. He formed the manipulation seals on both his hands, manipulating the long sword in his opponent's hand, while his right hand casted the seal, interfering with the thousand-snake demon venerate's battlesuit, demolishing Day. As the thousand-snake demon venerate was stunned briefly, he was pierced between his eyebrows with just a finger by the present body. When Ryu Kangfeng, who was watching from the Infinite Realm auction house, saw Jiang Ming performing the Infinite Transcendence technique, his pupils suddenly shrunk to the size of the tip of a needle. He was astonished and muttered, "This is definitely Holy Dao-leveled special ability. Better yet, this special ability has endless potential. I remembered that place doesn't mean to aid in cultivation, and there is no real specific inheritance, doesn't it? Did he deduce it by himself? How is this possible? That illusory long river originated from ancient times, running through the present, flowing into the future, and interprets the creation of civilization as well as the cycle of history. It is like the epitome of fate and the embodiment of fate. If this technique is advanced even further, then..." Ryu Changfeng's vision was so wide that even the great heavenly venerate of the heavenly court couldn't compare to him. Prior to this, he saw many techniques and special abilities of Jiang Ming's and wasn't shocked by them. However, he was really shocked and amazed now. He knew really well what it meant for him to be able to realize this kind of special ability. His comprehensive ability is sky-defying. To be able to understand this kind of Tao and technique means that his soul's strength is at least at the quasi-sage level. With his great encounters and opportunities, there is really a high possibility that he would be able to evolve his inner world into a middle chiliocosm. With the support of the chaotic tree seedlings, he may even achieve the Great Chiliocosm stage. Alas, it's the Great Chiliocosm. Ryu Changfeng was getting excited. He's my great encounter, or rather, I might be his great encounter too. Fate is truly an amazing thing. Sparks of wisdom were flowing through Ryu Changfeng's eyes. He suddenly smiled as he stroked his hands. On the Infinite Realm battlefield, the present body had his one finger pierced through the center of the thousand snake demon Venerate's eyebrows. His body's vitality was destroyed and the power of his soul was also annihilated. Just when he was about to completely die, the sea of consciousness of the demon Venerate was suddenly ignited in golden flames and his primal spirit quickly flashed to the side. Golden Evasion Talisman. The present body had an indifferent look in his eye. Standing on top of the long river of history, Jiang Ming allocated part of his mind to keep an eye on the human path record. The status in the human record kept coming up. All of a sudden, the past body and the present body vanished in thin air and Jiang Ming's burden was greatly reduced. He raised his arm and pointed his finger to the air. Return of Infinite Law Finger Technique, the most powerful special ability that he had in the past, was still in the forefront. The finger, which accommodated all laws and Taos, broke through yin and yang, disintegrated the reincarnation and ran through time and space, landing at a point where space fluctuates. There, the primal spirit of the thousand snake demon Venerate had just appeared. No! How did you find me? The demon Venerate was so frightened that he couldn't even control the two quasi-sage weapons to return into his hand. What's left were the constant tremble of his consciousness, conveying boundless horror. My golden evasion talisman. It should be able to escape time and space and even block off all auras. It should have been my strongest means of life-saving technique. How could it be? How could it be? Yu Fei, save me, save me, ahhhha. With a miserable shriek, the demon Venerate's primal spirit shattered and vanished. This time, he was completely gone. Jiang Ming waved his hand and kept all the spoils left by the thousand snake demon Venerate, suppressing them in his inner world. As he turned his head to look at the great demon concubine, he had a strange look on his face. Right that very instant, this so-called top beauty of the world was surrounded by murderous aura. She evoked the seven-colored scarf and blew the flute at the same time, killing the future body just like that. You actually killed the thousand snake demon Venerate. The great demon concubine had a look of shock on her face. Her face was filled with murderous intent, as her eyes were filled with anger. Do you know who he is? He is the elder of the demon holy palace and his status is extremely respectable. By killing him, you have become the enemy of the demon holy palace, an eternal enemy to them. You will inevitably be besieged and killed by hundreds of millions of demonic experts. They will not stop until you are killed, chasing after you for eternity. The great demon concubine's voice was shrill but echoed far away. Her screech spread through the whole battlefield. Demon Holy Palace? Jiang Ming narrowed his eyes, as his murderous aura was flickering fiercely. He looked up the human path record and saw, name, Yu Fei, Great Demon Concubine. Status, Jiang Ming actually resisted my charming seduction. How is it possible? Even the Heavenly Emperor couldn't resist that time. Although I was caught, he became my servant under my command. In fact, between the other two great demon venerates, who weren't tempted by my charming seduction and became obsessed with my flawless body, even the old dragon and laughing Buddha couldn't help it. How can he still resist? This kid is not bad. Not bad at all. Hit. Wanting to kill me? You are way too naive. However, his capability isn't bad. He killed the Gengu Demon Venerate before this. Should I see if he can kill the Thousand Snake Demon Venerate as well? I hope he can kill him. This disgusting beast was still laboring under the delusion of trying to hit on my flawless body, my extreme body of the Great Tao. I still remember the last time when he actually revealed his true form with thousands of heads and tails. Damn it, although I had the ultimate joy with all kinds of postures and positions, he is still extremely disgusting. As I'm recalling it now, my stomach is still cramping from the thought and even my intestines could feel his slippery mucus inside. It's quite good if he ends up dead. Let the Demon Holy Palace be detracted from one more person and give this kid some trouble at the same time. Maybe one day in the future, I can truly make him surrender himself under my feet and become an ass kisser. His breath of life is too exuberant, his vitality is so young, his tongue must be very tender. Even my legs are getting wobbly. Damn it, I can't be distracted. This kid's techniques are very good. I must be careful not to fall into his trap. If someone is to fall, he will be the one to fall into my clutches. To think that he can actually affect my Tao vessel. What a brilliant move. I was almost done. Fortunately, my body is always protected by the bed of infinite desire. It has helped me withstood a blow. This blow almost beat down my big firm breast. Such annoyance, such dread. He is not a gentleman at all. He's still thinking of suppressing my quasi-sage Dao weapons? Humph, he's been underestimating me too much. Let me play with him for a little while first. Good gracious, this illusory river that he unleashed is so powerful that it directly conjured 3 clones, where each of them was similar to the main body. They can still be reconjured after I killed them. Are they immortal and undead? I think they should be maintained by the main body. This special ability is sky-defying. Now I'm afraid the 1,000 Snake Demon Venerate can't stop Jiang Ming. Damn it, if he really gets killed, to think that I would be missing the extreme pleasure from the thousands of tongues. Forget it. I will look for another 10,000 snake in the future. As expected, 1,000 Snake Demon Venerate is killed. Damn, he still wants to kill me. Humph. I'm not like that idiotic 1,000 Snake Demon Venerate. If it wasn't because I didn't want to expose my strongest ace back then, even the Heavenly Emperor wouldn't be able to suppress me. That Heavenly Emperor. When he looked at me during the war, his eyes were filled with great amazement and a strong urge of possessiveness. If it wasn't for his lack of murderous intentions, how could I have been sullied by him? It's such an unfortunate thing that I did not become a heavenly concubine. Damn, Heavenly Emperor. Sooner or later I will be the one to suppress you, to trample you under my feet, and I will find 10,000, or rather 1,000 elephants to violate him. Not to forget about that Heavenly Queen. Oh, why am I still thinking about these messed up things? Now that the 1,000 Snake Demon Venerate is dead, I have to pretend to fight for him. Otherwise my conscience would be stricken, and it'll also be easier for people to see through me. I shall chide him and also irritate the Demon Holy Palace, forcing them to make their move. Ha! Everyone's trying to stay out of it? I'm going to pull you all into this. Later I'll act like I am going to lose to Jiang Ming and might even be killed. When the moment comes, that bastard of a great demon venerate will appear, right? That bastard will definitely show himself. As men, how can they just watch their wife being beaten by an outsider? Even if they knew that they were cuckolded, there are still bastards. Just wait for the day I suppress the great demon venerate. I'll make him kneel at my feet and watch me enjoy myself with thousands of men. Haha, that would be a very exciting scene to behold. Also, there's this little guy in front of me. I am going to put him on my bed of infinite desire and sit on his face. Jiang Ming was speechless as he read the human path record. He even felt like vomiting. He thought this desire demon of lust just wanted to let go of herself and pursue her freedom. But from the latest status manifested in the human path record, he despised reading the content for it completely, was ashamed to his eyes, primal spirit, and even his soul. A devil was still a devil regardless. A leopard can't change its spot, let alone a desire demon. Moreover, she was the great monarch of the desire demon clan who were of the extreme lust. From the looks of it, when she was captured by the Heavenly Emperor and the others, she was capable of escaping. But because she didn't feel the killing intent from them, she ended up wanting to play around with them. Bravo. Jiang Ming somehow respected her acts and thought that such a woman should only exist in none other than the demonic realm. She played through infinite realms like a fiddle. That was so unbelievable that Jiang Ming had the urge to give her a thumbs up. As these thoughts ran through his mind, Jiang Ming saw torrents surging out from the great demon concubine's body. The torrents interwoven into various rays of light, making her look even more beautiful and seductive. Even if it was anger, it made the air tremble. 1,000 Snake Demon Venerate was my Dao friend. Now that you've killed him, you are my mortal enemy in the abysses. I will kill you today, the great demon concubine said softly and gently. She stepped on the bed of infinite desire with one foot as her scarf was fluttering in the wind with divine luminance spiraling around her. She placed the jade flute beside her mouth and spat out a white note one after another, turning them into little dancing elves. This special ability seemed as though it was giving birth to life. As the void went with the rhythmic beat, the laws trembled and waves after waves of mysterious forces swarmed towards Jiang Ming. Jiang Ming's pupils shrank. He conjured the past body, the present body, and the future body again. Entombing sky illusory palm. Entombing all things. The future body, sitting cross-legged in the air, slapped his palm forward and outburst thousands of palm shadows as though it was a peacock flaunting its tails or the thousand-handed Guan Yin. Thousands of palm shadows were falling in all directions, smashing up all the little elves. The flames of civilization should be sheltered by the killing fists. The past body crossed through the void and let off his punch that contained the power of the past, the evolution of civilization. Demolishing Daos. Meanwhile, the present body directly activated its strongest technique, combining the destruction of the body, the soul, and the heart into one, destroying the Daos and all things with just one finger. The great demon concubine had a serious expression on her face. The jade flute in her mouth trembled vigorously, playing a soul-shivering voice, commanding the seven-colored scarf and bed of infinite desire to merge with it into one, turning into a defensive mechanism. The defense actually managed to block the special abilities evoked by both the past and present bodies. What a powerful defense! Jiang Ming was astonished. As Jiang Ming deduced the infinite vessel manipulation technique, he immediately sensed that the great demon concubine had connected the power of the three quasi-sage Dao weapons together, making it as if they were one vessel. No, she also merged into them the power of the quasi-sage vessel that was integrated into her body, which constituted an inimitable defensive technique. What a strong attacking power! I almost failed to defend myself. The great demon concubine's face turned solemn. What if all three clones were to shoot me at the same time? Jiang Ming, what exactly is your origin? How can you possess such powerful special abilities? I am certain that this special ability of yours, which conjured a river that looked like the long river of fate and condensed three immortal clones, is definitely of the supreme holy laws. However, I have never seen or heard of it. Tell me, where did you get your inheritance from? Your so-called Tianyuan realm. Is it a Dao square left by a Saint Lord? Or is it a hidden place of cultivation for the supreme experts who fell from the chaos? To think that a little human child is able to grow to such a terrifying level from the moment he ascended into the infinite realm battlefield. Even if you have a time palace that can reverse time by 1,000,000 times fold, the encounter of yours must be extreme. Hence, I guess that you must have mastered the secret towards the sanctification of Dao, and you are also blessed with peerless great fortunes. The great demon concubine's words were like bullet trains as she swiftly expressed her thoughts. You came to kill me because you wanted to know my secret, yet you are now publicly questioning me about it. It's apparent that something's wrong. Jiang Ming had a sarcastic look on his face. Are you trying to kill me through others? The others might not be able to read through great demon concubine's mind, yet how could Jiang Ming not understand what she was trying to do? He just followed along with what the great demon concubine had said and made a reversal deduction about it. He would do it in conjunction with what she wanted to do. After all, the messier the situation, the better. Moreover, he no longer intended to hide his own secrets. Yes, the great demon concubine slightly hesitated before she nodded. Since you've killed two of my fellow Dao friends, you are obviously a powerful madman that I'm not your match. That's why I can only kill you through others. Since you know you aren't my match, why are you not scrambling away? Jiang Ming shouted, as the great demon concubine, you should stay in the abyssal demonic domain to give birth to children of the great demon venerate and not take revenge for your lovers as you are currently doing. Ah yes. Why did the thousand-snake demon venerate help you? Is he also one of your lovers? Slandering me in public means that you are also slandering the entire abyss, the great demon venerate, and the hundreds and millions of demonic descendants. The great demon concubine hummed proudly. The abyss will hunt you down, and so will the great demon venerate himself. Even if I'm no match for you, I still have to give it a try to see if I may have a chance to kill you and avenge my fellow Dao friends. My arms are open for hugs. Bring it on. Jiang Ming wasn't afraid of her. He even had the urge to take out his long sword to kill her. In the end, his sword technique wasn't suitable to go against her. Hey, how dare you? As a great demon concubine, how could she not understand that Jiang Ming was ridiculing her? As her eyebrows twitched slightly, a touch of amorous feelings flowed in her eyes, but she did not reveal it in the end. Instead, she said, do you think that you are the only one who has clones? How could I not have it myself? The incarnation of all desires. Come before me. The space around her trembled as a large amount of pink mists appeared out of thin air, spreading through thousands of miles in an instant. It then quickly condensed into clumps, turning into incomparably enchanting women. There were a total of 3,000 of them. All desires incarnated into 3,000 clones corresponding to the 3,000 Dios. With a flick of the jade flute in her hand, immortal luminance flowed as she placed it behind her back. She stepped on the bed with another small foot and continued, this is my peerless law. Today I will show you the means of the abyssal. Die. The 3,000 clones formed a torrent as they launched themselves towards Jiang Ming. At the same time, all of them evoked their individual techniques, launching various lustful abilities and means at him, aiming to seduce his mind, arouse his desires, and even send the very cores of his primal spirit into tremble. A demonic fire suddenly appeared, directly burning the void itself. It's kind of interesting. Jiang Ming had a solemn expression on his face. His three clones went forward to meet the great torrent of lust. It was a battle of the transcendence technique against the law of the all desires. The divine luminance could be seen flowing throughout as the torrent continued to vacillate. The void was overwhelmed with endless storms sweeping through all directions with powerful fluctuations. It was truly a terrifying scene to behold. The eruption of power of this great battle was no weaker than when he faced Kunpeng last time. Fortunately, they were fighting high above the air. Otherwise, the lands would definitely be destroyed and crippled. In the end, the great demon concubine still reserved some of her might. The 3,000 clones she conjured were just empty shells that only could arouse desires and sway a person's soul. These effects were not of much use to Jiang Ming, and they ended up being killed. All 3,000 clones were completely wiped out. Killer Civilization Punch, Dao's Extinction Finger, Infinite Vessel Manipulation Technique. The past and present bodies used their strongest offensive technique at the same time, aiming to take down the enemy with one blow. Meanwhile, the future body evoked the infinite vessel manipulation technique, ready to interfere with the three Tao vessels that were lingering around the great demon concubine. Standing on the long river of history, Jiang Ming placed his hands behind his back and watched attentively. Suddenly, he frowned and had a strange look on his face. The moment when his future body evoked the infinite vessel manipulation technique, he did not manage to exert influence on the opponent's Tao vessel at all. It wasn't because it couldn't, but the truth was that after the great demon concubine knew of this technique of his, she had the origins of those Tao vessels constantly communicating and integrating their strength with each other. Moreover, the power of the Quasi-Sage Tao vessel in her body also integrated into the mix. Even when his future body was fully evoking the infinite vessel manipulation technique, it was still too difficult to manipulate it. Out of sudden, the divine luminance of the three Tao vessels of the great demon concubine shattered. To think that you are willingly allowing your Tao vessels to be affected by my technique. Do you want me to injure you so that you can lead out the great demon venerate? Jiang Ming had an extremely cold expression on his face. He was enraged by the great demon concubine's foul play and decided to wipe her out completely. Killer civilization, demolishing Tao. Sensing that the great demon concubine had loosened her control over the three Tao vessels and that they could be affected by the infinite artifact control technique, how could Jiang Ming let up this chance? Putting up a show? That's great. I'll turn your show into reality, Yang Ming thought as he sneered. Meanwhile, his past body and present body directly evoked his ultimate killer technique and dissipated layers and layers of immortal luminance around the great demon concubine. With his left fist landed on her left chest and his right hand pointed at her right boob, a deafening explosion erupted. The immense power raged through, destroying even the mountains. These two blows could even penetrate the infinite realm battlefield, let alone a person's physical body. However, as his attack connected, Jiang Ming felt strange as he sensed a terrifying power fluctuation that was residing in her body. The fluctuation of power even cancelled out most of the damage from his two blows of attacks. Even so, the great demon concubine was obviously too confident as she did not completely cancel off the power from the two blows. She initially wanted to pretend to wail in pain as she was blown away from the attack. However, she was now wailing miserably in extreme pain for real. Two puncture wounds appeared on her chest as a great amount of blood spewed out of her mouth. Her shriek spread all over the infinite realm battlefield coupled with endless curses. Jiang Ming, to think that you almost killed me and explode my body into pieces. I will kill you. I will kill you for sure. As her body was flying backward from the explosion, a terrifying evil aura suddenly erupted from her body. However, it was at that instant that she suddenly sensed the presence of a peerless being behind her. It was so abrupt that she didn't even notice the person behind her until then. That's not right. This is Jiang Ming's aura. As she turned over her head suddenly, her pupils shrank as her face turned extremely pale. Die! Jiang Ming locked onto her with the human path record, conjured a clone, and projected it over to the back of the great demon concubine. Without any hesitation, he evoked the three great overarching Tao vessels that he was carrying, forming the tri-talent formation at the same time. This was a higher-level application of the infinite vessel manipulation technique, forming a large formation and then detonating it right after so that the power of the explosion would be more concentrated and terrifying. Its destructive power could be increased by at least 10 times. Jiang Ming was confident that even if there was a legendary holy Tao vessel suppressed within her, this unexpected blow of attack would be able to kill this enemy of his for sure. Boom! With a deafening bang, even the sky turned pale as the earth collapsed, almost turning the world upside down. Along with the consciousness of many experts who were peeking at their battle crushed by the power erupted, they screamed in pain as blood started oozing out of their 7 orifices. This attack from Jiang Ming was truly terrifying. It gave off the feeling of the end of the world, the destruction of the universe, or the end of the era itself. Just as Jiang Ming was about to witness the great demon concubine taken down by his assault, the void suddenly split open at that very moment, breaking the confinement of the tri-talent formation. What came after was a violent torrent of destruction as a bloody red flag appeared. It wrapped around the great demon concubine, escaping into thin air. Upon watching the scene, Jiang Ming's pupils shrank because he saw the great demon venerate. Jiang Ming's eyes were glistening with luminance, piercing through time and space. He saw a slender figure standing in the depths of the interlayer of time and space, holding a large flag with both hands. Its overwhelming power painted the world blood red. Seemingly sensing Jiang Ming's gaze, the great demon venerate looked over and their eyes finally locked onto each other. The great demon venerate had a smile on his face, nodded, as if he was expressing goodwill. Jiang Ming, on the other hand, had a strange look on his face. To think that this great demon venerate bore no hatred nor killing intent towards him, he felt it was indeed interesting. Of course, the best thing about it was that Jiang Ming was able to have seen him face to face, hence he would be able to know the real details about him from the human path record. Name: Sky Demon, Great Demon Venerate. Race, Sky Demon. Gender, Male. Cultivation, Quasi-Sage. Background, a Great Demon Venerate in the Abyss of Honggu Heavenly Realm. Relationship, 55. Innate talent, Holy Taoist status. Long time ago, a single drop of demon blood floated from the chaos, quietly pierced through the fetal membrane of Honggu Heavenly Realm, as it fell into the nine-orifice demon embryo nurtured in the origin of the abyss. Upon fusing with the embryo, spirituality was born and he was finally conceived from it. Since the beginning of his birth, he knew of the great inheritance that awaited him. Taking the sky as his surname and the demon as the name, he named himself Sky Demon. His name was also the name of the demon clan, as he had a great ambition to be the founder of the Sky Demon clan. There wasn't any big commotion upon his birth into the world. In order not to be discovered by others the uniqueness he has, he lived among low-level demon clans and began to grow rapidly in secret. After the Saint Demon Lord left, the former Great Demon Venerate ruled the Abyss. Sky Demon merely watched, observed, waited, and made his moves in silence. Walking silently through every corner of the abyss, he was curious about the chaos that was outside of the world. He broke through into the chaos and was almost strangled by the various chaotic forces of chaos almost instantly. He was then swept off by a large, incomplete formation, got a hold of the Holy Tao vessel, the Blood Banner. He then managed to break out of the Great Formation and quietly return to the abyss. In the battle of the previous Heavenly Court, the former Great Demon Venerate died after killing the last Heavenly Emperor as he was attacked by his own ally the Lord Buddha. Sky Demon knew that his time had come. With the abyss in chaos, he took advantage of the situation to rise above others, drove away all forces, integrated the various forces of the abyss, and once again unified the abyss, becoming the next Greta Demon Venerate. In order to ensure his position and for the stability of the abyss, he forcefully married Yu Fei, who was the named disciple of the former Saint Demon Lord, after great lengths of thought. As of then, his position as the Dominator was firm and stable. However, the Great Demon Venerate knew that for the abyss to really stand strong, he needed to be able to compete with the Heavenly Emperor. His own strength must at least reach the Demi-Sage Realm. Hence he began his cultivation retreats. Although he was in seclusion for his cultivation retreat, he still noticed that the Great Demon Concubine was lustfully agitated and that she hooked up with the other peerless experts of the abyss. He also saw the Great Demon Concubine seducing the old monarch of the Dragon Clan, the Buddhas, and even some immortal emperors of the Middle Chilio cosms. However, he only watched on the sidelines and started to plot his plans at the same time. Great Demon Venerate, although I don't love you and that I used you as a tool, you are still my concubine in name after all. How dare you give me the title of a cuckold? Just wait, you bitch. During a retreat in the origin of the abyss, he vaguely sensed the tremor from the origin, conveying faint waves of distress. Hesitating for a bit, he followed the induction of the fluctuations and entered the chaos. As he inched forward carefully, he found more than a dozen Venerates who were at the verge of death by the chaotic storm. Right that moment, 6 of them had already perished due to the storm. The Great Demon Venerate rescued the remaining 12 Venerates, forced them to swear an oath to follow him and help him towards enlightenment. However, he also promised that after he successfully sanctioned the path of Tao in the future, he will take them with him when he leaves Honggu Heavenly Realm for the Sea of Chaos. Quietly returning into the abyss, he arranged them to be his backup and the foundation for his power. Based on what was shared by the few of them, after they returned to their positions in the ancient times, they had no way of sanctioning the path of Tao as they were innate saint spirits. Worried that they would be liquidated by the Saint Lord, they joined together to venture into the chaos and head for the legendary Sea of Chaos. Unexpectedly, the chaos was too terrifying. Even though there were 26 Venerates who joined hands to pull through together, they still encountered all kinds of disasters on their way, such as chaos winds of annihilation, interlacing power of time and space, chaotic icicle imprisonment, chaos beast, and many more. It was extremely difficult to move forward, and the road ahead seems hopeless. After thousands of years, they finally decided to return to where they came from. Just as they were about to return, they encountered the chaotic storm that almost wiped them all out before they were rescued by the Great Demon Venerate. A total of 14 Venerates had fallen from the ordeal. The Great Demon Venerate understood the terror of the chaos once again from this incident. It was difficult to venture through the chaos unless he was a Saint Lord. As such, he decided to conscientiously continue his cultivation in preparing to break through into the Demi-Sage Realm. His next step was to overthrow the Heavenly Court, unify the heavens, and gather all the great luck of the worlds to break through into the Holy Tao Gate. Hundreds of millions of years passed by. Finally, he managed to step into the Demi-Sage Realm. As he finished consolidating his cultivation and was preparing to exit from his seclusion to start off with his plot against the Heavenly Realm, he sensed a terrifying force looming over at his direction that pierced through the abyss. After finishing his cultivation, he was greatly enraged. He immediately initiated his plot to defy even the heavens. He also learned that in the battle at the Infinite Realm battlefield, 2 Venerates had fallen, but he didn't care at all. After all, the 2 were the gigolos of the Great Demon Concubine. If they died, so be it. Even if they didn't die, they would sooner or later. With the ongoing Great Abyss trial, coupled with the emergence of the Infinite Realm auction house, the Great Demon Venerate was on high alert and knew that he could not wait any longer. After all, who could compare to the wealth that the Heavenly Emperor scavenged from the Infinite Realm? Hence, he would definitely obtain lots of great treasures from the auction house, and it would be even more difficult for him to plot his plans by then. It would be better to set off the catastrophe early. After all, the action of the Heavenly Emperor who broke through the abyss had caused many great monarchs of various forces to be fearful and wary of him. It would be better to just kill him now. Even if he didn't join forces with other experts, once he challenges the Heavenly Emperor, the Lord Buddha, Dragon Monarch, Demon Venerates and many others will definitely make their move and tacitly join forces to kill the Heavenly Emperor. From here on out, there would be no one that could restrain him anymore. Defying heaven itself, he opened up many gates of domain on the Infinite Realm battlefield and used them as a stepping stone for him to enter the Heavenly Realm and launch his attack on the Heavenly Court. Unexpectedly, the great demon concubine ordered her subordinates to attack the many powerful forces of the Heavenly Realm and even entered the middle and small chili-cosms. The great demon Venerate was enraged. However, when he saw that the great demon concubine had come to the Infinite Realm and launched her attack on Teen Yuan Realm, he changed his mind and decided to adapt with the flow. He planned to wait by the sideline and emerge as the last person standing. Using the supreme holy law obtained from chaos, he planned to bloodily sacrifice the many middle and small chiliocosms to attack the Heavenly Realm and perhaps even destroy the Heavenly Realm in one blow. Upon seeing Jengu Demon Venerate's death, he secretly speculated that the great demon concubine would not be able to kill Jiang Ming and that she might even be in danger. However, he couldn't allow the great demon concubine to die just yet. Without her messing around and colluding with many forces, how could he ensure that the demons could successfully slash their ways into various middle chiliocosm? How could he complete the arrangement of his plots? What a person this Jiang Ming is. He actually possesses such a terrifying special ability. 3 Tao vessels are being detonated and even formed a great formation. That's not good. The great demon concubine is in danger. It's too late now. I can only evoke the blood banner. Fortunately, it's just a great shock ending with no danger. I was hiding in the interlayer of time and space and yet this Jiang Ming could still see me. This is interesting. Should I kill him? No, I can't kill him. With the strength of this kid coupled with that forbidden technique of his that can detonate the great overarching Tao vessels, if he were to be cornered into a desperate situation and forced to detonate many great overarching Tao vessels, I am afraid that I will have to expose my real cultivation realm then. Even now, the blood banner may have been exposed as well. However, with the dense background of the Heavenly Emperor, he will pay attention to it, but won't care too much about it. It might have been difficult to even notice it just now as we were in the interlayer of the torrents of destruction that destroys all the power of laws and Taos. After destroying the Heavenly Court, I will then subdue this kid. If he doesn't bow before me, I will just kill him and then keep the human race in captivity. Upon reading this, Jiang Ming's eyes narrowed and murderous intent were overflowing from the depths of his eyes. God damn it, I've only arrived at the Infinite Realm battlefield and had to face the North Emperor right off the bat, fortunately killing him in the end. Then I became enemy with the Abyss and followed up by being plotted against by the Heavenly Emperor. Not long after that, the Great Demon Concubine wanted to kill me and now even the Great Demon Venerate is targeting me as well. God damn it. I'm now standing on the opposite sides of both the Heavenly Realm and the Abyss. This is like forcing me against the whole world, Jiang Ming thought. Jiang Ming's gaze was getting colder and colder with every passing second. The Great Demon Venerate was raising humans as food. Jiang Ming swore inwardly that he would discard his surname if he couldn't kill him today. However, he felt the Great Demon Venerate was really good at hiding. Even though his wife had cheated him, he was able to ignore it. Not only that, but he will secretly watch his wife have sex with other males, Yang Ming mumbled. Judging from the Great Demon Venerate's behavior, it was rather possible. If it's the truth, then Jiang Ming hastily killed his thoughts. From this point alone, Jiang Ming could see how terrifying the Great Demon Venerate was. He was powerful and tenacious. He was able to endure and tolerate the most difficult thing in the world in order to achieve his goal. He was born from the combination of the 9-orifice demon embryo of the Abyss origin and the demonic blood from the Chaos. He was innately gifted, and he held a lot of power in the Abyss. He also obtained the Holy Tao Vessel from the Chaos. The Holy Tao Vessels were items forged by Saint Lord. Most of them held power beyond imagination. Even until now, Jiang Ming had only come across one Holy Tao Vessel. Was his human path's record considered a Holy Tao Vessel? It was hard to say. This great demon Venerata was lucky as well. He saved 12 ancient Venerates, and all of them were exceedingly powerful. The fact that they were able to come back from the chaos after wandering in it for many years indicated their might. However, they all submitted to the great demon Venerate and became his helpers. It seemed to Jiang Ming that the great demon Venerate was a formidable enemy, and he did not have a good feeling about this if he were to fight against him. Suddenly, something popped into his mind: the chaos. Even for the Venerates, going into the chaos often meant death. Besides, the legendary Sea of Chaos was not that easy to look for. I guess that's the reason why there are still so many Venerates in the Honggu Heavenly Realm. After all, it isn't an easy task to venture into the chaos, not to mention that nobody knew where the Sea of Chaos was. And then, someone came into Jiang Ming's head. Riwei Changfeng. Despite the danger in the chaos, he came and went into the chaos as if it was his home. He also had been hunted by a Saint Lord, and it occurred to him that Riwei Changfeng was at least as powerful as a Saint Lord. At this moment, the explosion of the three great overarching Dao vessels had engulfed the sky. It was fortunate that the Dao vessels exploded in the sky. If they exploded on the ground, the Infinite Realm battlefield would be destroyed in no time. With that thought in mind, Jiang Ming deactivated his special ability. He retreated to the sky above the palace and landed beside Ryu Changfeng. Impressive! Ryu Changfeng exclaimed, his face fully written with admiration and surprise. I've gone to many worlds and been exposed to many secret methods or special abilities. However, none of them are as powerful or good as yours. You're only a golden immortal, yet you could take down 2 Venerates in the blink of an eye. Brother Jiang, you truly are the strongest I've ever seen. Unfortunately, I let the great demon concubine run away. Jiang Ming shook his head. Ryu Changfeng was speechless. It isn't that easy to kill him. Even if she doesn't run away, she will only end up with a few injuries. If she really wants to run away, there's nothing you can do to stop her. Really? Jiang Ming blinked his eyes. There's nothing I can do to stop her? If it weren't because I don't want other people to know that I can pinpoint their location, do you think I can't kill her if I detonate 10 great overarching Dao vessels? If it's not enough, I still have the Quasi-Sage weapons on my hands. However, Jiang Ming was certain once they learned his secret, the great demon Venerate and the Heavenly Emperor might join forces to eliminate him. As for the clone that appeared behind the great demon concubine, he was not far away from him when they were fighting, and there were too many ways for him to reach him. You can kill her? Ryu Changfeng asked. Well, it seems like I've underestimated you. But considering the fact that you're the group admin, regardless of luck, knowledge, there are countless possibilities lie before you. But, let me warn you, don't look down on her. She still has an ace up her sleeves. I can sense that. Jiang Ming nodded. Can you really not do something about it? Nope, this is my principle, Ryu Changfeng said with a smile. Count me out. Do you have any saint weapon? Yes, I do. Are you going to sell them off? What? Of course not. I need the saint weapon to protect myself. There is no way I'll sell it away. You have even taken that thing out, because it's useless to me at the moment. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. What I have right now is more important. For me, nothing is more important than ascending into the next level. Therefore, if we want something, we have to give up something. You're just comforting yourself. Sigh. Can we stop this conversation now? I'm starting to regret it now. Ryu Changfeng said embarrassingly. Well, it's too late. Jiang Ming laughed, and then he looked far into the distance. There, the great demon Venerate had shown himself. He waved his arm and the great demon concubine appeared not far away. As for the blood banner, apparently she had stored it away. My dear wife, the great demon Venerate said as he looked at the great demon concubine endearingly. You are the most respectable mistress in the abyss. As my wife, how could you do something like this yourself? If you don't like him, you can just send our demon troops to get rid of him. Great demon Venerate, you despicable, disgusting vermin. How dare you do something like this to me? The great demon concubine snarled as she glared at the demon Venerate, her eyes spewing the fire of hatred. Many of the experts that saw the interaction between them frowned. It seemed to them that she was saved by the great demon Venerate, and he was comforting her just now. They couldn't fathom why she was so angry at him. Even if she was not on good terms with the great demon Venerate, she shouldn't have fallen out with the great demon Venerate in a public like this. Besides, she shouldn't have behaved like this considering her level of cultivation. All of them were not able to think it through, save for one person, and that person was Jiang Ming. He had seen everything through the human path's record. Although the great demon Venerate was comforting his wife on the surface, he was actually cursing and shouting at her through telepathy. He told her that he was going to lock her up and burn her with the demonic fire for 30 million years, as well as to use the eternal demonic blade to cut her face 100 times so that her wounds would never recover. Besides, he was going to let the abyss maggots crawl over her body and the abyss giants puncture her with their massive weapons as a punishment for cheating on him. Damn, this fellow is wild, Jiang Ming exclaimed. Well, I guess you already know about it, Ryu Changfeng said with a smile. I'm sure the great demon Venerate has said something to the great demon concubine through his mind. Maybe he wants her to behave herself and give her a chance to conceive a few little demons for him. The corner of Jiang Ming's mouth quivered. Sky demon, the demon concubine shouted. The fire in her eyes grew even larger. However, all her anger disappeared as she offered an alluring smile at the great demon Venerate. "Oh my dear great demon venerate, I'll make sure you'll fall even deeper for me. Haha. Just you wait." Even though she was smiling and laughing when she was talking, Jiang Ming felt a chill down his spine. After all, he saw the great demon concubine's true intention through the human path's record as well. She was going to make him fall from his grace. She wanted to contact the Heavenly Emperor, the Buddha Lord, and the dragon to kill him. She wanted him to get his soul destroyed. However, before that, she was going to look for 30 million young men and had some fun with them. Not only that, but she was also going to send the footage of them having fun to the great demon venerate. She wanted to bring disgrace to him and let everyone in the abyss know that he couldn't satisfy her desire. From a sense, they really are the perfect match for each other, Jiang Ming said. At this moment, the great demon venerate was heading toward his direction. The wind was blowing while the clouds fluttered through the sky. The crack in the sky was gone, and the sun had returned. Jiang Ming lifted his head and looked toward the great demon venerate who was walking toward him. In the end, the great demon venerate stopped at about 10,000 meters away from him. At this distance, the one who made the first move would be the winner. "Brother Jiang," the great demon venerate greeted Jiang Ming with his hands on his back. Even though he had concealed his presence, people still felt a chill down his spines around him. They all felt like they were staring at the abyss itself, and the darkness that followed behind him seemed to house an ancient monster that would pounce at its prey at any moment. "As a man, how can you do that to a woman?" the great demon venerate said, his voice low and deep. "You'll leave a bad impression on other people. There is no man or woman when it comes to cultivation." Jiang Ming smiled. "If I treat her like a woman, I might be dead right now." The fact that she could reach the demon venerate realm shows that there are many lives in her hands. Right now, all of you even extend your evil hands into my world, causing havoc and taking many lives, and you still want me to treat her nicely? For me, all demons are the same. You all are the source of all turmoil in this world. You're greedy and bloodthirsty, and all of you are evil to the core. You're so narrow-minded, the great demon venerate said. "The strong preys on the weak. This is what we demons believe, and we wish for nothing but freedom." Nonsense. Jiang Ming interrupted. An argument like this was meaningless. Both of them had their own points and beliefs, and neither of them could convince the other person. "You want to get revenge?" Jiang Ming asked. "You've killed too many of my demon venerates as the great demon venerate. I have to do something about it." A sword appeared in the great demon venerate's hand. "I'll let you strike first. If not, people might say I'm taking advantage of you. The heavenly court is the one that leads the universe, and the heavenly emperor is the one who leads the heavenly court. He just complimented me for taking Kun Peng down. But you guys ignored the order of the Heavenly Emperor and disturbed me again and again. It seems to me that you're going to rebel against the Heavenly Court and make everyone in this universe your enemy. As expected of the demon, you guys are bold," Jiang Ming said before looking toward Ryu Changfeng. "Brother, do you have anything in possession that can kill him?" "Well, I can only say yes and no," Ryu Changfeng replied. "What do you mean?" Jiang Ming asked. "No means I don't have a weapon that can kill him in one strike. Yes means I have something that can kill him. For example, the venom of the black scorpion is potent enough to take his life, and the mixed bane is a type of poison that can erase a demon of its existence. However, both of these will only take effect when they're in the demon's body, and it's very hard to do that. Isn't that bullshit?" Jiang Ming was speechless. At the same time, he felt shocked as well. He found it hard to believe that there was a poison that could take a demi-sage expert. Ryu Changfeng chuckled, while the great demon venerate frowned. Black scorpion? Mixed bane? Although he had never heard of them before, he reckoned that they were items from the chaos. "Are you not coming at me, Jiang Ming?" The great demon venerate turned his eyes around and looked at the Tianyuan realm. Apparently, he was telling Jiang Ming that if he refused to make the first move, he would destroy the Tianyuan realm. It seemed to Jiang Ming that he had to show the great demon venerate something today. He harumphed as his face sank. He waved his arms and a river of Dao vessels appeared before him. There were 108 Taiyi weapons, 6 great overarching Dao vessels, and a Quasi-Sage weapon. All of them gave off a brilliant light and they got into their positions respectively, forming into a formation. The great demon venerate was so shocked that he was tongue-tied. "What's with that face? Aren't you the one who asked me to come at you?" Jiang Ming laughed. "After all, the abyss is a force that can fight toe-to-toe with the heavenly court. Before you show up, you've sent 2 demon venerates and the great demon concubine at us, so I think it's only right for me to retaliate with an attack of equal power, right?" The great demon venerate did not know what to say. He looked at Jiang Ming intently and the river of Dao vessels in front of him. The corner of his lips quivered. "Damn it," he cursed inwardly. If he denoted all of the Dao vessels at the same time, the great demon venerate was confident that not even he was able to survive the blow. Once he was gravely injured, there was a possibility that the Heavenly Emperor would come out and kill him right away. Even if the Heavenly Emperor did not take advantage of the situation, what about the Buddha Lord or the Dragon Lord? For them, weakness was a sin, and those who were weak shouldn't even exist in this universe. Besides, he was certain that Jiang Ming still had other tricks up his sleeve. If he pushed him into a desperate situation, there was no guarantee what he would do in retaliation. After careful consideration, the great demon Venerate looked toward Ryu Changfeng. He could sense that he was powerful, a lot more powerful than the Heavenly Emperor. Therefore, there was no way he could snatch the auction house from him. Since he could not get the auction house from him, he could only trade with him. Sir, the great demon Venerate smiled at him and greeted. Do you have anything that I need? Yes, I do. Ryu Changfeng's eyes glowed. I have a comms. It can restore 30% power of a demi-sage expert once consumed. It's considered as an extra life in a battle. I also have some demi-sage weapons and several secret techniques that could temporarily seal the movement of your enemy. It's a lot. The great demon Venerate was shocked. He had the urge to steal all of them from Ryu Changfeng. But when he saw Bijou, who squatted next to Ryu Changfeng, he pressed the urge down. Apparently, the man in front of him was someone he couldn't defeat at the moment. Besides, he shouldn't create more trouble at a crucial moment like this as well. Can we trade now? The great demon Venerate asked. Ryu Changfeng shook his head and said, I've already announced that the auction will begin in another year, so I can't turn back on my words. This is the integrity of a trader. Jiang Ming glanced at Ryu Changfeng. Integrity? Integrity is nothing when benefits are great enough. The great demon Venerate sighed. Do you have the location map to the Sea of Chaos? Yep, there is. Ryu Changfeng squinted his eyes. A certain expert who was observing them was stunned. His heart skipped a beat, but he soon calmed himself down. The Sea of Chaos was a place where everyone wanted to go, including the Heavenly Emperor. The reason they did not go there was because they did not have the map. The map is here. Ryu Changfeng pointed at his head. The great demon Venerate did not continue the conversation. Instead, he changed to another topic. Can you tell us how the realms of the Chaos Sea are divided? Nope. Ryu Changfeng said, all I can say is that the Golden Immortal Realm is the weakest over there. The Golden Immortal Realm is the weakest? The great demon Venerate was stumped. Even Jiang Ming was stunned as well. Those who had achieved the Golden Immortal Realm were by no means weak, but they were the weakest in the Chaos Sea? In the Chaos Sea, the Golden Immortal experts are just like ordinary people in a planar world, Ryu Changfeng added. This time, both Jiang Ming and the great demon Venerate were speechless. In other words, the Golden Immortal experts were just like ordinary people when they went to the Chaos Sea? There's one saying in my place, the limit for the growth of the life bred in a small chiliocosm is the Golden Immortal Realm. Once a person has reached the Golden Immortal Realm and comprehended the Tai Dao, they can go to another world. Is that true or not? And the Immortal Emperor in the middle chiliocosm. Once they've ascended into the next realm, they will break their shackles and go to another world. Is that true or false? The great demon Venerate asked. It's both true and false, Ryu Changfeng said after a short while of hesitation. Anyway, this isn't a secret after all, so I guess I can tell you about it. Both Jiang Ming and the great demon Venerate fell silent. The experts that were hiding in the dark all pricked up their ears. In the chaos, only the great chiliocosm can truly exist and operate independently. Middle and small chiliocosms have to depend on the great chiliocosm. Generally speaking, once someone from the small or middle chiliocosm have broken their shackles, they will be sent to the great chiliocosm, Ryu Changfeng said. Some of the great chiliocosms will become volatile after losing the suppression of a holy saint. In this case, the living beings on the small or middle chiliocosms will be sent toward the Chaos Sea after they've broken their shackles. Of course, there are also some exceptions as well. However, these ascensions also come with great risk. While they're on the way to ascension, there will be a test. An expert once compiled the total number of people who successfully passed the test, and he found out that out of 100 million people, only one person might be able to pass the test. In other words, there is a 1 in a billion chance. So this ascension is suicidal, Ryu Changfeng said. What? Both the great demon Venerate and Jiang Ming were stunned. 1 in a billion? Suicidal? This was something that they had never expected before. Why does the test have to be so hard? Jiang Ming said in confusion. Do you know what kind of place the Chaos Sea is? There's no way you can go there so easily, Ryu Changfeng said with a smile. Only those who are strong enough to pass the test. A golden immortal expert might be very powerful in a small chiliocosm, but they will die instantly as soon as they step into the Chaos Sea. Only those golden immortal experts who are strong enough to defeat a great overarching expert might stand a chance in the Chaos Sea. Seriously? The great demon Venerate shook his head. A golden immortal expert defeating a great overarching expert. That's impossible. Suddenly he thought of something and he looked toward Jiang Ming. Jiang Ming hadn't reached the great overarching realm, yet he was able to kill someone a lot stronger than him. The great demon Venerate was a demi-sage himself, but he did not have the confidence that he could defeat him either. It's possible, but only a handful of people can do that, Ryu Changfeng said. After that, he waved his hand and continued with a smile. Alright. That's all for today. If you want to buy something, then get ready your immortal crystal, demon crystal, or even Dao vessels and come back to me in another year. Sure. The The great demon venerate nodded. He took one last look at Jiang Ming before leaving while shaking his head. Brother Jiang, you've made a name for yourself after this fight and more people will know about you. Ryu Changfeng smiled. Honestly, I'd rather them not know who I am, Jiang Ming sighed. I just want to spend my life in peace, but it seems to me that it's impossible. Many people are coming after my life, so to protect myself as well as the people I care about, I have no other choice but to fight back and kill them. I guess I would only have my peace after I've killed all of them. Well, it seems to me that you still have a long way to go. Sigh, there's nothing I can do about it. Haha, both of them laughed. Sacrificial artifact judgment and the special ability that you developed that could disrupt your opponent's Dao vessels as well as your special abilities that could form bodies of 3 lifetimes, Ryu Changfeng said. Are you going to trade them? Of course. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't trade with you if you have something good to offer, Jiang Ming said. Honestly, special ability was the last thing he cared about. After all, he was confident that he could master and perfect different kinds of special abilities. That's the spirit. After you've collected everything, I'll show you some good stuff. Sure. After they had finished talking, Jiang Ming returned to Chuyang Peak. I was terrified when the great demon venerate appeared just now. Mountain Master Tian Yuan said, but honestly, I didn't expect that you could scare him away. It's just temporary. If he's hell-bent on attacking me, there's nothing I can do other than running away, Jiang Ming said. Even so, what you did is still very impressive. It means that you're now one of the strongest people in the heavenly realm. Oh yeah, Mountain Master Tian Yuan paused for a moment before continuing. Wan Lian, Great Monarch, sent me a message just now. After the battle between the Abyss and the Heavenly Court has come to a conclusion, he and the other human venerates will come over here and build a force that belongs to the human race. They will also elect you as the Emperor of the human race to lead the entire human race from all universes. They will support you regardless of anything, even if you want to bring the Heavenly Emperor from his throne. He wants me to ask about your opinion. Mountain Master Tian Yuan was talking to him telepathically. Jiang Ming frowned slightly and said, you don't have to use telepathy here. How is their combat power? Mountain Master Tian Yuan raised his head and looked ahead. He was surprised. He knew what Jiang Ming was trying to tell him. Nobody would hear their conversation as long as they stayed here. Other than me, there will be another 8 venerates. One of them is at the peak of the Quasi-Sage Realm, 2 at the middle stage of the Quasi-Sage Realm, and 4 at the initial stage of the Quasi-Sage Realm. There are so many of them? It isn't that many. After all, the human race is the largest race, so I'd say we have the least number of experts. No, wait a second. Let me rephrase. Every time there is a war, the human race will lose 1 or 2 experts. Now that I think about it, it should be that we're targeted by other forces and they want to weaken our power. No, it must be because of that. If not, there's no way we won't have a Saint Lord, right? What do you think, brother? Nope. Jiang Ming shook his head. The Heavenly Emperor reigns over the Heavenly Court. He has the authority of the universe and he's as powerful as Saint Lord. Do you think anyone can defeat someone like that? As for the Great Demon Venerate, he has a Holy Dao vessel. The Great Demon Venerate has a Holy Dao vessel. Mountain Master Tian Yuan was stumped. Of course. Yang Ming nodded. Not only him, I suspect that even though the Buddha Lord and the Dragon Lord don't have a Holy Dao vessel, at least they have 1 or 2 demi-sage weapons and powerful formations. In this war, regardless of whether the Abyss or the Heavenly Court wins, we can't stand forward. The only situation we can stand forward is when the Heavenly Emperor, the Great Demon Venerate, the Dragon Lord and the Buddha Lord are too occupied with the war and they can't afford to care about us. Besides, we also need a demi-sage expert. It seems to me that they can't hold themselves back for long. I thought the same way as well. Mountain Master Tian Yuan frowned. They have been hiding for so long, so why are they all suddenly becoming so restless? Could it be that they see the hope of the rise of humanity in you so they can't hold themselves back anymore? Hope? Jiang Ming shook his head. Hope is the most unreliable thing in this world. He paused for a moment before continuing in a serious manner. By the way, make sure you don't tell anyone about this place. Are you worried that, well, people's hearts are unpredictable? Yeah, you're right. People's hearts are unpredictable. Mountain Master Tian Yuan smiled bitterly. He sensed that Phoenix Linglong was watching him. He let out a chuckle and left. As soon as he reached his house, the courtyard was instantly covered with a layer of fog. No matter how hard he tried to pry inside, he couldn't see anything. What a mysterious place. Can the Sage Venerate's Dao Square do something like this? But I didn't see any sign of formation at all. As the thought surfaced in Mountain Master Tian Yuan's mind, he sat down in a lotus position and began cultivating. The Zhuyang sect. Many people were getting stronger and stronger. Some of them had just a breakthrough 3 days ago, and now they had another breakthrough again. Most of them found it difficult to believe at their cultivation speed. Even Gu Hai, who seldom cultivate, had already reached the Paradise realm. Shuyang Peak. Senior brother, do you know how scared I am just now? Phoenix Linglong wrapped around Jiang Ming's arms. The Great Demon Venerate is someone who stands on the same level as the Heavenly Emperor, yet you can scare him away. You really are the best, senior brother. It's nothing, honestly. It's best if I can kill him, then no one will disturb us anymore, Jiang Ming said as he threw himself on the rattan chair. Ah, this feels so good. You're just lazy. Phoenix Linglong threw herself on top of him and drew circles on his chest with her finger. I guess no one will come to disturb us for the time being. What's your plan, senior brother? We'll just wait and watch, Yang Ming said. It'll be best if no one comes to disturb us, but if there is, we'll kill them. You don't want to be the Emperor of the King? Or the Emperor of the North? Nope. Bam. A cannon shot silenced everything, and the shrill sound was transformed into the world's most exalted music. Time was passing slowly. The heavenly realm was invaded by the demon. They killed everyone they saw in their path, but some of the bigger forces did not care about them. The heavenly court also sent many heavenly soldiers and generals to get rid of the demons. The heavenly emperor even gave out orders to eliminate the demons, and this represented the demon completely standing on the opposite side of the heavenly court as well as the others. Some great overarching expert would show up from time to time, but a Saint Lord never appeared. In the midst of the war, there were also rumors about the Infinite Realm battlefield. 4 demon venerates and the former Northern Emperor were killed there. Due to this, the Tianyuan realm became a force to be reckoned with. Many people sent invitations to Jiang Ming and wanted to visit them, but he rejected each of them. Time was passing rapidly as the war progressed. Very soon, there was only 1 month left to Ryu Changfeng's auction. I'm finally at the peak of the Taiyi realm. Phoenix Linglong got up and stretched her body. Jiang Ming looked at her and calmed himself down. Now isn't the right time for that, he told himself. It was about time he traded with his group members, and he should get serious now. Senior brother, I'm strong enough to defeat a great overarching golden immortal now. Just as I expected, cultivating with you is much faster than cultivating in that inheritance space, Phoenix Linglong said. You've absorbed all of my essence, so of course your cultivation speed will be fast, Jiang Ming said. Yeah, you're right, Phoenix Linglong replied. I want more. What? Jiang Ming shuddered. Nope, nope, nope. Let's stop for the time being. I still have other more important stuff to attend to. I'm sure it's because you can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore? Girl, you shouldn't challenge me, Yang Ming replied, but he rubbed his back in secret. Then, he entered the Supreme Chat group. Something good was happening there. Linglong lay on top of him, but Jiang Ming pushed her away from him. You're so mean, senior brother. This is called the joy of a king. King, I'll let you have a taste of the joy of a saint. Jiang Ming shuddered. The personality of this junior sister was different from that of Linglong. She was passionate and bold, as opposed to Linglong. While Jiang Ming was enjoying her service, he entered the Supreme Chat group. It was quiet here, and no one was talking. I guess everyone must be busy, he chuckled inwardly. The relationship between him and the group members had grown considerably in the past year. Yongforen, why is there no one to receive their group admin? If you can give us red packets with 100 points in it, we will come and welcome you every day. Are you kidding? It has to be 1,000 points. Not only will we come and welcome you every day, I can also give you 3,000 beauties that I refined for you. Nah, 10,000 points is the best. If you can do that, group admin, I'll collect 30 million desired demons, red demons, fallen angels, dark elves, spider women, and so on for you. I can even call you master if you can give me some points. How can you guys be so shameless? Group admin, do you need someone to warm your bed? I can do it for you. You with a shame as well, Miss Feng Wu. You even have offered yourself to our group admin. Brother Jiang, all of them are bad guys. What are you talking about, Sister Qin Shi? We aren't bad guys, we're your friends. I can share our group admin with you if you want.
You guys can share me too if you want. Shoo, get out of here, you little monk. Are you not worried that your Buddha Lord would punish you?
All of these people showed their true natures since they did not have to worry about anything here. Sure, I'll leave some spaces for you people after I've built a palace. What? Group admin, although I'm a dragon, I'm not into that kind of thing. I can't believe you're this kind of person, group admin. My Buddha Lord will punish me. Hold on, guys. It seems that our group admin is going to spend some points now. Besides, you're the one behind this Supreme Chat group trade thing, right? Yes, I need a lot of it. Judging from the amount of items and points, I'm sure you aren't preparing them for yourself or the force that's supporting you from the back. Are you preparing them for the trade? Trade? The Infinite Realm auction house? I can't believe that you've encountered the person who runs the auction house. You even have struck some deals with him. This is going to be a good opportunity.
I'm just lucky. Anyway, let's get back to the business. Do you have anything good to offer to me? Quasi-Sage weapons, Holy Tao vessel, innate spiritual root, treasures.
I will receive anything you can offer. When the great monarch of my clan ventured into the chaos, he stumbled upon a destroyed great chiliocosm and got a stone monument. There's a holy law embedded on it. Holy law is precious, but group admin, a stone monument that contains a wisp of the origin force of the former great Chiliocosm, is more valuable for the person who runs the auction house. So what kind of price are you going to offer? Of course, it goes without saying that you can make the stone monument into a quasi-sage weapon. All of you know about the nature of the auction house. Group admin, most of us here have a big background in their own world. Some of us might be a saint lord, so of course we're aware of some of the secrets. Besides, Hongjian has told us about the Infinite Realm auction house before 2U. Using the chaotic Destiny River as a medium, they wander through the vastness of space and time. Through a certain price, they lock onto a great Chiliocosm and descend over there. The traded items themselves are of little value to them, but the power of the world, the power of Qi, and the power of destiny contained in the items are the supreme sustenance for their cultivation plurist. The power, the Qi, and the Tao fluctuation in it is massive. For us, the holy law might be more valuable, but for you, the stone monument is of immense value. Weezy and Tu Wee Jiu. Hehe. I'm so excited today. Heavenly King with Earthly Tiger, odd numbers will change and even numbers remain. I'll appraise it and see how much it is worth. He let out a sigh inwardly. He thought A Long was a transmigrator as well. Sure, I'll send it to you right away. Great. A Long, I have gathered quite a lot of items and great overarching Tao vessels. I'll transfer all of them to you first, and I'll go gather some more. Sure. Di Huo, I have a worldly flame here. It is the fusion of 3,000 fires such as Sunfire, Extreme Yin Fire, Stellar Fire, Black Hole Tears, Southern Flare, Thunder Fire, Void Fire, Terra Fire, Karma Fire, Mortal Fire, and Ocean Fire. It's also the source of all fires in my world, which is equivalent to the Quasi-Chaos Fire. On my side, the value is comparable to that of a Quasi-Sage weapon. But if you're going to trade it to the owner of the auction house, the value is going to be several times higher. So do you want it, group admin? I think you need it more than me, right? I already have one, and this is the spare. There are only 2 in this universe, and I doubt there will be the 3rd one in the future. The reason for taking it out is simple. I just want to get a large amount of points. Besides, my clan has high expectations of me. According to my natural talent and opportunity, they all think I have the chance of sanctifying Tao, which is why they spare no effort to support me. If I have enough points, there's a possibility I can develop a method to break the shackles of my bloodline and realize my potential or comprehend a supreme Tao Ji. Well, you came to the right person. I have 1,000,000 points, so you won't be disappointed. Hifarigi foresee. I have 1,000,000 points, so you won't be disappointed. You're fully Hiki. We're truly honored to have a group admin like you. Anyway, I'll transfer the item to you first. Sure. All of them were trading, while on Chuyang Peak, Jiang Ming was biting his lip and his eyes were widened. His body was trembling and a surge of excitation rushed through every nerve end inside of him. Phew. He let out a sigh and looked ahead at the setting sun. He scooped his junior sister up from the floor, then cook with one hand and eat with the other. He made the meal slower than he used to, and he finished the meal even slower. Congratulations, you finished the slowest dinner under double joy. You've been rewarded with one of Dragon Monarch's strongest attacks. Jiang Ming raised his eyebrows. This was not the first time he got a reward like this, but he had only used it once. The attack he used was the strike of the Heavenly Emperor that punctured the entire abyss. Awesome. Yang Ming was delighted as a myriad of thoughts flitted across his head. At this moment, he froze and shuddered. Then, he felt as if he had fallen into an endless void. Phoenix Linglong was lying next to him. She licked her lips and took a few large gulps from the cup of tea beside her. Eek, it's so disgusting. But you like it very much, aren't you? It's even more nutritious and flavorful than the cup of tea in your hand. Bullshit. Phoenix Linglong rolled her eyes at him. Jiang Ming laughed. In the next second he disappeared, and when he appeared again he was standing on the platform of the Supreme Pagoda. On the platform, Ye Qingxin was sitting in a lotus position on top of a stone monument. There was a layer of divine light around her to prevent other people from disturbing her. There were also other people on the platform. Most of them were talking while the others had their eyes closed, seemingly taking a rest. However, all of them had a big grin on their faces. Jiang Ming flew through the air and landed outside of the divine light. Sister Ye, he called out to Yi Qingshan. Yi Qingshan opened her eyes and a smile broke across her face when she saw Jiang Ming. Brother Jiang, she greeted him as she dispersed the divine light around her. Jiang Ming walked over and the divine light returned, obscuring everything that was happening inside from the sight of the people outside. The people on the platform looked over in their direction. Some of them were pointing their fingers at them, but none of them walked over. After all, they were all immortals and they did not really care about what they were doing. On the stone monument, it has been 800 to 900 years, Sister Yi. It must have been tough for you, Jiang Ming said as he sat down. Well, the tougher the better. Yi Qingshan smiled. Then, she tossed a storage ring at her. It was a great overarching item that harnessed the power of space. It contained a very unique special ability and it was extremely priceless. I've used up all my points, but I've gotten quite a lot of items. Feel free to check on them. You've used up all your points? Jiang Ming was shocked. That's faster than I expected. All of us lack points. Yi Qingshan shook her head and laughed bitterly. All of those who made it here are geniuses. They all hail from good backgrounds and they have plenty of good stuff in their hands. However, all of them are facing the same problem, not enough points. Once they have enough points, they could sanctify their Tao here. It's an opportunity that can only come by luck, so of course everyone wants to seize it. As for those treasures and good items, we can always get it back somehow. Yang Ming nodded. Yi Qingshan was right. For example, some of them with limited innate talent would not be able to ascend into a higher level once they had reached a certain realm. However, the enlightenment mode here could break through the shackles. Some of them asked me if there's anything I want or not. Yi Qingshan looked at him. Let's stop for the time being, Jiang Ming replied after he thought for a while. It's likely that I will need more, but the items needed will be different, so wait first. Alright then, what is your next plan? I'm going to stay here and cultivate? You're not going to return to the real world? It has only been a year in the real world. Besides, I still need to cultivate if I go back to the real world, so why not do it here? I still have some points left, and once I've used them up, I'll go challenge the battle tower and the heavenly ladder to get some points. Besides, I've also set up a small goal for myself. A small goal. That sounds interesting. Can you tell me more about it? I won't return to the real world until I enter the chat room. Yi Qingshan's eyes were glowing brightly. She became even more excited, but she did not ask Jiang Ming about the members in the chat group. After they talked for a long while, Jiang Ming returned to Chuyang Peak. You came back faster than I expected, Phoenix Linglong said in surprise when she saw Jiang Ming. The taste in my mouth hasn't gone away yet. I'm going to... The corner of Jiang Ming's lips quivered. You're going to what? Phoenix Linglong smiled, her eyes into two fine lines as she turned her body around. I'm going to punish you. By the time Jiang Ming raised his head, the sun was already setting. No wonder people always say that the beauty's arms are the graves of the heroes. Jiang Ming lamented. Junior sister, you're going to kill me one day. I just took a few bites, Phoenix Linglong said gloomily. Senior brother, I'm hungry. Go make something for me. Jiang Ming shook his head silently and went away. While he was flying, he looked across the Tianyun realm. There were divine lights everywhere. The trees were tall and the rivers were shimmering. He turned his head around and looked at the Juyang sect. Hao Chen first seat has already ascended into the Immortal realm, as expected of the most experienced senior in the Juyang sect. As for Shi Yao, Jiang Ming looked toward the mountain behind Chuyang Peak. Shi Yao was still cultivating in the courtyard. She was a mystical immortal expert right now. All of them are getting stronger and stronger. He turned around and flew toward the Tianyun Sea. Then, he gazed around at the Infinite Realm battlefield. The portals to the abyss were still around, and demons were rushing out of them. Besides, Jiang Ming also noticed that there were plenty of powerful beings in the void around the Tianyun Sea. All of them were looking in this direction, and apparently they were sent by the various forces from the heavenly realm to keep an eye on this place. Jiang Ming did not care about them. After a short while, he came to the auction palace. The door opened up and Ryu Changfeng emerged from it. His eyes were glowing and his voice was thick with excitement. Welcome, welcome, my guest. Please have a seat inside, Brother Jiang. After you, Brother Ryu. Jiang Ming followed him into the palace. Translation: in the depths of the palace, there was a spacious area. Jiang Ming and Ryu Changfeng were sitting on a lotus platform. They were floating on top of a sea, and the mountain ranges in the distance were emitting a brilliant light. There was a desk in between them, and the air was filled with the fragrance of the tea. Brother Ryu, I have good stuff here, Jiang Ming said as he took out the stone monument that A Long had given him. The stone monument was standing at the height of a normal human. It looked ancient, and its many scars made it look like it had existed for more than 1 billion years. There was a depiction of a sword in the center. At a single glance, the sword intense in it seemed to be able to cut through one's primal spirit and destroy one's will. It was a sage-level sword technique. Can you appraise it? Yang Ming pointed at it. Ryu Changfeng's eyes glowed. Signs began to appear in his eyes as he peered into the material of the stone monument and analyzed the essence contained within. He tapped the stone monument with his finger again, and various lights appeared. Awesome! This is terrific! Ryu Changfeng couldn't help himself and exclaimed, this stone monument is made from a material known as the Triple Terra Gold. In the Great Chiliocosm, it's considered a great material to forge a quasi-sage weapon. This stone monument is of great value by looking at the material alone. Of course, for the billions and billions of living beings across the universe, this stone monument is priceless. However, these values have no meaning to me. This stone monument carries the residual holy Tao of a great world. The worldly key, origin essence, faith, law, hope, as well as the decaying energy after the destruction of the world. Hope and disappointment, creation and death, faith and corruption, light and dark, there are too many of them. For me, this is of immense value. If you only consider the stone monument and the sword technique, its value is equal to that of a primary quasi-sage weapon. But with all the things I mentioned just now, its value can be increased by 10 times. The value of this stone monument is 10 primary quasi-sage weapons. It's even more valuable than a demi-sage Dao vessel.
So, are you going to sell it for 10 primary quasi-sage weapons? Ryu Changfeng asked, his eyes glowing with excitement. Can't you extract its Dao fluctuations? Jiang Ming asked.
Well, yes and no. Ryu Changfeng shook his head. He picked up the cup of tea and continued. I'm nothing but a dealer here. For everything I've traded here, there is a wiggle room when it comes to price according to different grades of items. This is also my secret to making some pocket money as well. Of course, the more business I do and the higher the value of the items I get, the more contribution points I'll receive. Are you sure it's okay for you to tell me all of these? Haha, you're my VIP customer. Of course, I'll tell you everything unless it involves some core secrets. I'll trade it with you after I've mastered the sword technique on the stone monument. Sure. Brother Ryu, then how about this flame? How much do you think it's worth? Jiang Ming stored the stone monument away and flipped his palm. A plume of fire appeared at the center of his palm, and at that moment a gush of heat energy swept across the surrounding area. Ryu Changfeng's eyes glowed, and he stared at the fire. After a long while, he said, "This is a worldly flame. It's the source of fire of a great chiliocosm, the source of civilization, the source of life, or the source of all things. This thing is good, terrific." Jiang Ming gave him a thumbs up. The fact that he could see through the worldly flame's essence in a single glance showed that he was truly knowledgeable. Well, I've traveled to more worlds than you have. Ryu Changfeng laughed. The value of this worldly flame is the same as the stone monument. However, the value of this worldly flame will be 10 times that of the stone monument if it were to stabilize until the day the world welcomes its destruction. Pretty good. As Jiang Ming was talking, he pulled out treasures one after another. Just like Yi Qingxin had said, all of those who could enter the Supreme Pagoda were beings that were loved by their worlds. They had plenty of opportunities, so they would naturally have some good stuff with them. For example, a small, black, unpleasant stick was surprisingly refined with the male trait of 3,000 different races and infused with the aura of more than 300 million different females. Moreover, there were traces of 3 great chiliocosms on the stick, bringing its value to the middle quasi-sage Dao vessel. Jiang Ming was shocked. Yi Qingxian had gotten this item with 4 points. Its value was increased by 250 times, and Ryu Changfeng was willing to trade it with 20 weapons. Ryu Changfeng also told him that if a man ate the stick, it would invigorate him and make up for his shortcomings. Jiang Ming felt a new world had opened up before his eyes as Ryu Changfeng appraised those items. In the end, the appraisal session ended. Jiang Ming checked through the items in his storage ring and made a rough estimation inwardly. A smile broke across his face as he said to himself, "I guess this is more than enough, and I still have plenty more left. But I have to say that the profit of monopolizing the market is truly astonishing." Ryu Changfeng sighed. "I'm happy that you have reached the target in such a short time, but I don't know why I feel so depressed." "Why do you feel depressed? With so many items, the Holy Dao is just right before you," Jiang Ming laughed. "Once you've entered the Holy Dao, you'll attain immortality. What could be compared to that? Besides, it's a seedling that takes an unknown number of years to mature and manifest its true value." "Brother Ryu, you've earned big this time. For you, you surely have earned 100 times more than I have," Ryu Changfeng said while shaking his head. "Anyway, this thing will only manifest its true value when it's placed in the hands of someone like you who cultivates the world Dao." As he was talking, he pulled the chaotic tree's seedling out. He studied it for a while and continued. "Although the value of these things is enough, to be on the safe side, can you give me the stone monument as well after you finish comprehending the sword technique on it? Of course, I'll give you an item of equal value in return." "It's a deal then," Jiang Ming said with a smile. "If you still need more, I can continue to help you collect, provided that you have enough good stuff." Ryu Changfeng's eyes glowed, and then he narrowed them. "What do you need in return?" "Quasi-Sage weapons, demi-Sage Dao vessels, Holy Dao treasures, Holy Dao secret techniques, special abilities, formations, immortal roots, spiritual roots, and so on." As he sipped on the tea, Jiang Ming said, "The more the better." "The more the better?" The corner of Ryu Changfeng's lips quivered. Initially, he was the one who needed these items, but now it was the other way around. He was considered wealthy in every great chiliocosm. After all, he had traveled to many different worlds and even had the resources allocated by the headquarters. But now, the man in front of him was even wealthier than he was. "I'll start the auction in another month. Since your world doesn't have a Saint Lord, I'm afraid not many people can afford a quasi-sage weapon, let alone a demi-sage Dao vessel. From what I've seen so far, the most purchased items are Holy Dao secret techniques, formations, immortal pills, and so on," Ryu Changfeng said. "The highest value of the items I give you to trade is 1,000 items. This is my limit, and I can't go any further." "Can't you request your headquarters to send you some?" Jiang Ming asked. Through the chaos, Ryu Changfeng shook his head. Don't you know that the higher the grade of a living being or item, the greater the cost required to teleport across the chaos? Let's take the Lord God's space as an example. Generally speaking, sending a Tai realm expert is the limit. They will only send over a great overarching expert in a very special situation. As for a quasi-sage, it's totally not worth it. I thought the Lord God Space can send whichever beneficiaries they want, Jiang Ming replied. However, he felt this was rather reasonable. After all, if the Lord God Space and the Reincarnation Hall could send their beneficiaries to different worlds without any requirement, all universes would fall into chaos. That being said, things were slightly different when it came to the Supreme Pagoda. He could trade a quasi-sage weapon with his group members without any cost. There are rules even in chaos, said Ryu Changfeng. Although the Lord God is almighty, they can't ignore the rule. You're right, Jiang Ming replied. When will you come here again after you go back this time? You still want to trade with me? Of course. I need more holy weapons. Holy weapon. The corner of Ryu Changfeng's mouth quivered. Even in my current condition, I have only obtained one holy weapon. However, I can't trade it with you as it's my ace in the sleeve. Once I've stepped into the Sage Realm, my level will become higher, and it'll be easier for us to trade a holy weapon. It shouldn't be that hard for you to sanctify Dao, right? How long do you need? Yes, it isn't hard, but I don't know how long it's going to take. It might take a year or a million years. It depends. A million years? If I need to take a million years, I'm afraid a holy weapon has no use for you anymore when the time comes. Well, it's hard to say. Brother Ryu, can you sanctify Dao in the time chamber? Nope. If you want to sanctify Dao, you need to master the rules of the holy Dao first. Jiang Ming was a little bit disappointed when he heard what Ryu Changfeng said. After a short while, just when Jiang Ming was about to leave, Ryu Changfeng reminded him, "It seems to me that a storm is coming." What do you mean? Jiang Ming froze. The Abyss? The fact that the Heavenly Emperor could rule over the universe means he's both powerful and sagacious. Do you really think the Abyss can defeat him? In a world without a Saint Lord, the Heavenly Emperor's status is way too high, said Ryu Changfeng. Destruction pursues the great. If there's a Saint Lord, they will handle everything. When the Saint Lord isn't around, the remaining are all quasi-sages, and no one will submit to anyone. Even a demi-sage is considered a quasi-sage, and they can be killed. There are too many races and forces across the universes. Once something goes wrong, destruction will follow. Brother Jiang, you need to be careful. You're right. Jiang Ming nodded. But as long as they don't disturb me, I won't do anything. After that, he left with the chaotic tree's seedling. What a strange person. Ryu Changfeng waved his arm and closed the door. The great demon Venerate is very good at hiding secrets. When you learn about it, I'm afraid you won't be so calm anymore, Brother Jiang. But anyway, this is a good chance to see his true strength. It was a windy day on the Chuyang Peak. Jiang Ming called up human path records to check on the Great Demon Venerate, Great Demon Concubine, and Black-Hearted Old Demon. Great Demon Concubine, haha, with my surreptitious support, the Abyss has invaded about half of the middle Chiliocosms, ruffling infinite realms. Sky Demon, be prepared to be the enemy of all forces. Because of your reprimand, I'll bring down ruin on you. I'll make sure you die without burial and that your soul dissipates. Great Demon Venerate, ha, what a stupid Yu Fei, the son of bitch dominated by desires. Do you think I have no idea what you're up to? Trying to set me against the world as you wish. I'll let you see that all your plots are merely a way to help me. I'll eventually use your blood of desire to wash away my name as a cuckold. No, this is not enough. I want to suppress the heavenly concubine, the Maya, Dragon Queen Regnant, and the Vermilion Bird. Black-Hearted Old Demon, Yu Fei is such a jerk. Does she really think that she can do as she desires based on the inheritance of the Saint Demon Lord? This time, I'll make you the manure of the Abyss. The Great Demon Venerate is getting mightier and his plot is at a critical point. We must take action before the auction. Oh my Abyss. Let's rise to the top of the infinite realms. Let's transform the infinite realms into demonic domains and we'll rule over the infinite realms. Our demonic rule, the heavenly rules. After Jiang Ming read through these statuses, he had a strange look. It's unfortunate that I have neither seen the Great Heavenly Venerate nor knew his name to check on him. Jiang Ming pondered. In this case, the Heaven Court is indeed in a crisis. He shook his head and shifted his focus away. As per his words, he only wanted to mind his own business. He did not have much sense of belonging in the Tianyun realm. He only cared for a few, let alone the infinite realms in the heavenly court. Moreover, as a cultivator himself, he had a better understanding of the world's nature, hence enlightened. He would protect the Tianyun realm whenever possible, but he would be indifferent toward the rest. Senior brother, Ryu Changfeng has many visitors, but why were you the only one he invited into his palace? Phoenix Jr.'s sister hugged his arm as she said cheekily, "Is it because there's an affair between you two? Did I not feed you enough?" Jiang Ming was rendered speechless. You're way too free, aren't you? Of course not. What about feeding me more? A burning flame appeared on top of the Phoenix Junior sister as she said, "Furthermore, I only eat eggs all this while. Yes, it tastes really good. Do you want me to beat you up?" Jiang Ming took out the world flame and threw it over as he demanded, "Cultivate properly, the Tai realm is still way too low. This is..." As Phoenix Junior's sister caught the sealed flame, she spent a moment feeling it attentively and was delighted at what she had gotten. It is a fusion of sunfire, extreme yin fire, stellar fire, abyss fire, and many others. Hence it has transformed into the superlative world flame. If I take it in, my bloodline will be transfigured to the stage whereby I can manipulate thousands of types of fire and become the fire monarch. Once the main body breaks through to the great overarching realm, I can break through too in an instant. In fact, even the Quasi-Sage Realm would be a piece of cake. By that time, achieving the great Tao will not be far away. Senior brother, are you sure that this is mine? Phoenix Junior's sister was excited. Of course it is. Oh, senior brother, I love you so much. I think I must bear you a child. Now go cultivate. Yang Ming grabbed and threw her into the immortal medicinal field rather harshly. Following that, he lay on the rattan chair, chillaxing. Meanwhile, he distributed part of his consciousness into the chat group. Ajuk Di Huo, are you two around? Yes. Got an estimated price already? I think at least it's a threefold, right? UV Huo? Yes. You've been underestimating my ability as a group admin, haven't you? They are all estimated to be equivalent to 5 times of low-grade Quasi-Sage weapons worth 2,500 points. Do you want to trade? They were supposed to be 10 times, but he as the group admin shall charge a handling fee. Moreover, he was already kind enough to pay an amount 5 times higher than the original market price. Town 500? Count me in too. If you all can get me demi-sage weapons or holy Dao items, name your price. Group admin, in my clan we only have one demi-sage weapon. If I get it for you, my great monarch will definitely kill me. Wow, Ju Huor, you should do this. Make an orchid finger gesture and say, "Beach, I want it too." Pfft, I spat out a mouthful of 30,000-year-old blood. Ms. Feng Wu, I thought you'd spit out a mouthful of 30,000-year-old phlegm. You are so disgusting. I spat out a mouthful of 30 million-year-old corpse water. Yuck. Why are you out to disgust people? Wang Guan, you should do this. You should tilt your chin as you purse and scorn. I spat out a mouthful of 30 million-year-old urine. Damn it, this is too disgusting. Group admin, block him, all of them. Chengshum Frul. Saw your messages and I spewed. Looking at this dish, perfectly cooked and filled with boundless natural vital essence, Aoju, I want to eat you. Roar. The former group admin has finally suppressed his anger and shows himself. Congratulations. You are in a great state of mind and will have a promising future. Hey Ju, you are on my list. I shuddered. Hehe, do you think I'm afraid of you? I'm from the Sea of Chaos and in my clan we have about 10 saints. Brother, no, you're my own brother from now onwards. Hey Ju, hi Ju, I shivering in fear. I wanted to kneel down begging for forgiveness. Can't I just dance in women's clothing? Hongjian sits on his strong horse, holding a golden blade. Yes, you may. But if you can transform into a woman and have sex with me for 30 million years, I'll forget all these nonsense of yours. I can't control myself from laughing, held back in difficulty. If I wasn't in a prayer meeting, I'd laugh out loud 3,000 times. Eoju, I'm wiggling my butt to transform into a woman and wear women's clothing. Frankly, I've just recollected myself from the refusal to defeat and restlessness. I even wanted to utilize my clan's ability to kill group admin Jiang. But I know that I won't be able to kill him, based on his battle strength and sky-defying comprehension, and now his connection with the director of the Infinite Realm Auction House, he'll definitely soar to the heavens and shine in all the world. Hence, what can I do? Since we cannot be enemies, then we'll just be friends. My road to invincibility has actually ended far earlier than expected. Brother Jiang, if we're to meet again one day, I'd like to have a match with you. I'll go back on the road to invincibility if I win, else I'll have no regrets. Who'd ever think that an arrogant man like you would be humble? I'm not a kid after all. Taoist Hongjian, you said that you can find the group admin but can't kill him. We as the members have got 2 privileges, namely time acceleration and sermon listening. Hence, I assume that a group admin has other privileges that prevent you from killing him, right? Hensev, lom, hanteng. Please don't slander. You'll know when you become a group admin. In fact, I was so mad, utterly mad, when I lost the position as the group admin. It's like I could sanctify Dao and become a saint with the position, but only a quasi-sage if without. What, a group admin actually has such a great encounter? I'm jealous too. Would ye have the opportunity to be a group admin as well? I thought of the possibility of surpassing Hongjian by comprehending the 3,000 laws, merging them with the Tao of civilization to reverse my physique and forge a civilized Tao body before comprehending peerless laws. But now with Jiang Ming around, it seems that I've lost the chance. Yee. Oh, yee. I didn't have any thought before this, but since Hongjian told us about the privilege of the group admin that's akin to the immortal body, I've gone nuts. The Buddha is enraged. Shall we discuss how we can kill the group admin and take turns to become a group admin?
Ahem! Please don't forget that I'm still around.
Be careful that I can use the authority as a group admin to block you from speaking in the group and snatch away your supreme order. What the fuck, group admin can snatch our supreme order away? What did Mesho? I don't think so. Otherwise the group admin would be too powerful. No worries, the privileges of the group admin are only good for the group admin himself, in addition to the ban from speaking. Brother Jiang, can you tell me when you will break through to the great overarching realm? If it's short, I'll wait for the time to retake the position. By that time, I think I'd have gathered enough points. I understood what you meant, but I can't promise. I can only say that I'm only about 40 years old in reality other than the time acceleration. Shiming shit. What the f? Group admin, come into my embrace so that I can taste you well. You're only 40 years old? Are you kidding me? I've just checked the brother group admin's achievement. He's past level 4 of the 7th battle tower. Step 63 of the heavenly ladder, and his cultivation base is at level 14. I almost cursed. A golden immortal fight against a quasi-sage and won 4 times? There are 2 levels named Tai and Great Overarching in between. It's impossible, even one's talent is sky-defying, isn't it? By the way, how long has it been since the group admin entered our group? 2 years? Do you know what it means by step 63 of the heavenly ladder? It's the spiritual will of a quasi-sage, and not a demi-sage. Oh my, how can a golden immortal have such terrific battle capability and the spiritual will? Am I the one who got crazy, or it's the entire world that has gone nuts? I've gone crazy. I've the 3-legged golden crow bloodline, and such a bloodline is very noble among demon clans. With great fortune and a strong background, I've cultivated for almost 100 years now, but the group admin, you're amazing, too amazing. Now that the faster you grow, the happier I'd be. I'm so happy that I wanted to dance. Ha ha ha, based on such a growing speed, I think you'll step into the great overarching realm in 10,000 years. By that time, I will be able to retake the position as the group admin. I feel like crying.
Group admin. I think because your battle capability has been raised to the extreme, you'd need to raise your level next.
Tell me, what do you need? I'll provide you at cost price.
Hey, you're cultivating on World Tao. Do you want World Heart's Chaos Vital Essence, Long River of Innate Vital Essence, and Great Amount of Innate Spiritual Roots?
He had not expected that the lofty Hongjian could be so funny after he overcame his emotion. He also felt that Hongjian somewhat became a flatterer as soon as he knew about Jiang Ming's age and battle towers as result. Nevertheless, he could understand Hongjian's act. The privilege of spending 10,000 points to save your life once would be nothing to Hongjian, who had a strong background. However, he was obviously coveted for the opportunity to cultivate in Hongmeng primordial land that cost 500,000. Such an encounter must be extraordinarily sky-defying, particularly when it made even Hongjian go crazy and had thought of killing him. World Hearts, Chaos Vital Essence, Long River of Innate Vital Essence, and Great Amount of Innate Spiritual Roots, Jiang Ming yearned for them. When he saw the chaotic tree's seedling he hadn't put in his inner world, his eyes brightened exponentially.